Welcome back, everybody, to our Monday show, Boys in the Big Apple. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Memorial Day, by the way. Just wanted to shout that out as well. No Angry John tonight. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, the connection is, and I'm just guessing, of course, his brother actually served in Iraq, so they're probably honoring him for Memorial Day. But with that being said, we got to get right to things. We'll have a guest coming on later. And shouts to Jacob in the chat. Let's go to Donald, then Luca for first thoughts.
Okay, so first of all, salute to the veterans. Thank you for all the service that you do for us, for our freedoms, to allow us to talk sports for 4 hours. Your sacrifice allows us to do that, so big shout out to them, first of all. Second of all, big Game 7 between the Heat and the Celtics. A great comeback from the Celtics. If you're a Knick fan, choosing between the Heat or the Celtics to advance is kind of like the choice between watching Brokeback Mountain or P.S. I Love You. So either way, you're not going to be happy. That's gonna. So I don't know who I'm gonna root for. Just hoping for everyone to lose, and certainly one person's going to lose, and that's whoever's got to watch IKF play shortstop for the New York Yankees today. So that's going to be fun. Shout out to the Yankees for that. Inspired. Managerial decision. Got to have IKF at shortstop. Why not? We've had everything else so far, so we've had literally everything else so far, so why not? But listen, it's always a pleasure to be back, and we'll be rocking and rolling. It's the original trio, just like the old days.
Yeah.
So that could be
for
fun.
a few months, this was it. And I must mention, we're at episode 96, almost at episode 100. So maybe down the line, I get some people on for episode number 100. Remember, we started back episode 1, which was March 2021. Obviously, Donald joined us in January, February of 22. And then now we're here and we're doing all sorts of things. Now, before I get to Luca, Donald, let me ask, because it just looks that way. I don't mean to, just dive at questions, but did you get a tan or something? Did you get some color?
Yes.
So I guess we all got color this week.
I've been tanning, baby. I've been tanning. Give me some of that stuff.
Yes. I needed it. God knows. I mean, I was at the Yankee game on Saturday with Killer Joe and the fellas. Got some sunburn on my hand, but anyway, it's fine because tan.
You saw the IKF walk-off, right?
Yep. We saw the IKF walk-off, and we actually have footage of it, but I'm going to put that up, obviously, later on. Shouts to Brad and Jacob in the chat. I got to explain some context about yesterday, but Luca, what's going on?
Nothing much. The Yankees feeling good about a Padres series win so much that they decided to punt the first game of West Coast trip. That will not be easy, especially against the Mariners' young pitchers. So they've mailed in tonight's game. I'm not going to take part in watching that because there's a more important game on, and I think it's the Heat and the Celtics who will ultimately decide which Eastern Conference team goes to finals. I hope both lose, but unfortunately in sports you cannot have that. So if I had to pick one to win, it would probably be the Celtics, because I would love to see the Heat choke a 3-0 lead, just like the Yankees did in 04. Let's not bring that back. But regardless, I hate both teams, and I want the Nuggets to win. But even with that, we'll do some of our schedule predictions, and we're bringing back a special NBA segment tonight that I can't wait to bring back.
Yeah, so real quickly before I get to the comment section, though, we do our opening thoughts on the Yankees for the past week. Here is some footage, if you guys have missed it, of the walk-off videotaped by Killer Joe. This was obviously the IKF walk-off on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. You guys are back just in time. Let's fucking go. Again, bro. Respect. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York.
That was the fun time we had, and me and Joe Obviously, we're lapping up some alcohol as well. But I got to get to the comment section. Luker, to be fair, the only decision I hate is Volpe. Is Volpe if Rizzo is injured? No reason to play him. So up to Daniel Berry Sports. Jamie Gillen, yes, gotta love the punt. Luka revealed his love for Taylor Swift.
Not true. That's a
Brad
made-up
says
theory,
that-
by the way. I have no love for Taylor Swift. That is a completely made-up theory.
First thoughts, Luker. Yes, it is Luker. Who's choking the cat in the video? No, well, Luka accidentally stepped on the cat when we were like 2 minutes in last night's show. But it was,
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my god! I
Yeah,
need
I
to see a clip of that.
yeah, it made a loud. There's a lot of clippable moments.
He's actually right over there because I was looking for. I don't know what I was having last night. I had a spoon. Oh, it was the Ovaltine, and I had the spoon for the mix. And I was trying to look for it, and I was looking around. He was just laying there, and I accidentally stepped on his tail not once but twice. And he's still like, "Meow." He's
Yeah.
over there sleeping right now.
We had that. We also had a section where literally every fight in the chat was about football because there was what was it? Sunil was a Cowboys fan, so you had that fight. He started going at the Jets fans. Jet fans start going at Giant fans. A Bills fan came in, an Eagles fan came in. So it was absolute pandemonium. Brad obviously was in the chat. He's a 49ers fan. So there's that. And then also we had what was it? We had 3 strikes for Luka, kind of like what we do with Brian. And that was when LI was on, and then we ended up kicking each other out of the thing. So it was only LI and John. We kicked each other out at the same time. But with that being said, I think we should move slowly into our opening Yankee segment. Did you see Pete's tweet? I did not. Is it about the IKF disaster?
Is it about Gleyber Torres? Because he says he's currently, he currently has a lot of interest around the league.
Yeah. So that's going to be something to get into. I think second base is more of a concern than people would like to think. Obviously, the Yankees won 2 games out of 3 against the Padres this past weekend. Excuse me for that. With that being said, first thoughts, Donald, on the Yankees. I know we were down on them just a few days ago. Obviously, we were doing the Orioles stream. Where are you at with them? And, just first thoughts, concerns, any of that stuff.
Well, I still have a ton of concerns. Obviously, I feel a little better about that they're winning games now. They weren't doing that a couple of weeks ago, so there's certainly some kind of credit you can give to them for some of the wins that they've put together. They've got a couple of really gutty wins, but for me, they're just a really weird team, and I don't know how to assess them because I think for instance, I think the Padres game where they won 10-7 is a microcosm of what they are. Like, you saw the worst fielding that I've ever seen, possibly ever in Major League history, happen with those 2 errors in one play. The stupidest errors I've ever seen is like watching Bad News Bears. So then you see that, but then you've got, Aaron Judge saving the day with a home run, and then they score a bunch of runs, but then they try to give it back, and then, and then you get Clay Holmes trying to give it back again in the 9th inning. It's just, this is the Yankees. It's just like they're a weird team. I can't really pinpoint what they are. I think they're mediocre. I think that's what they are. I think they're just a little bit better than mediocre. I think the record testifies to that. And, they're very much relying on Judge and Rizzo to drive in the runs. Donald, about Higgy's slip and slide. Higgy's awful. Gashioka is an awful catcher. Like, $300 million doesn't get you what it used to, man. Like, Gashioka is your backup. Rordvet is your third. We don't really have a backup first baseman. Torres, not a big fan of. The third base is weird. They don't have a left fielder. It's a really weird team, and they don't have much pitching either. It's such a weird team. Weird freaking team, man. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know if you guys agree.
No, we agree. Very fortunate on some ends, definitely. I mean, obviously, you talked about the Judge thing, you talked about the Rizzo thing, whatever. But I mean, Higashioka, it's just been apparent as of late how bad he is.
Mm-hmm.
He has no plate discipline. And then yesterday, obviously, you have the overthrow from Bader, which obviously Bader gets a pass. I mean, obviously, it was a bad throw, but then Higgy just airmails the third baseman. So that goes as an inside the park home run, like Donald said, bad news Bears. And then obviously, he had two doubles yesterday, but at the plate, he's just got awful. And once again, it's weird because the Yankees made this trade for Ben Rordvet, obviously the ghost that didn't exist for an entire year. And then he's not even playing, which doesn't make any sense. And then, another thing, just off topic, but still Yankees. Willie Calhoun is batting third tonight. And what merit is he batting? Like what lineup in the major leagues is he batting third other than maybe the St. Louis Cardinals? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Luca, what's on your mind regarding the Yankees?
One word to describe them. I don't know if you guys can see. Tell me what you.
I say inconsistent.
Exactly. Inconsistent. The Yankees, first of all, the Padres are a struggling team. Let's take what they're for. I'm not saying the Yankees series win should be discredited, but I got to agree with Donald here. You're seeing a lot of good and what a lot of bad the Yankees can do. To me, I'm not really moved by the series, honestly. I think this West Coast trip is going to be very tough. Obviously, the Dodgers are the kings of the West, and the Mariners are not far behind either, I'm sure, in their division because they got a lot of young talent. Alex, you brought up Calhoun batting third tonight for the Yankees. Batting third tonight for the Mariners is Julio Rodriguez, so that's a definitely interesting comparison. But they got a lot of young pitchers and a very young bullpen. They've got, young talent, and they actually know how to prioritize their young talent. So it's to me, I think these two upcoming series against the Dodgers and the Angels, the Mariners are going to be very telling. But I still think this team is inconsistent. I've been told how many times we can't trade Gleyber Torres because he's one of the only hitters hitting. Not true. If you guys remember on Saturday, Severino was 1 out away from pitching 7 innings. Ground ball to Gleyber. He bobbles the ball. It's an error, and Aaron Boone yanks Luis Severino.
For King, and then that game blows out of proportion. Well, I mean, it doesn't blow out of proportion, but they take the lead, which obviously we were there for. Shouts to D Nizzy in the chat. Jacob also says something no one is talking about. It's how Cole stood on the mound when he should have backed up Higgy, because obviously he used to throw his distances. I mean, Garrett Cole, that's going to be a separate entity because last couple of starts he hasn't been himself. And obviously I recognized last year I kind of simmered down on the Cole criticisms because, hey, listen, he did step up for us in the playoffs. That's when we need him most. But also, we're fighting for a division at this point. We have 2 teams in front of us. It's not like last year. We were just gifted that first spot and basically no competition. The Rays are there. The Orioles are there. And I said it coming into the series. I said the Orioles are a better team than the Yankees. Some people did question me on Twitter and all these different platforms. But guess what? They ended up beating us. So the production is there. It may not be there on paper for the Orioles, but then again, they made it work and we didn't. We decided to, pull bullpen arms that, it was just complete nonsense. But I think what needs to be
talked about. It's a better put together team, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. A much better put together team. They have a plan. They have a game plan. The roster has a plan. It's very much put together with someone actually thinking. None of which exists for the Yankees.
I mean, I guess not, of course, but I want to dig into second base, if you will. Now, obviously, yes, we know they won the series and all that. And we'll talk about any of the positives we saw over the weekend. I think second base may be one of the bigger holes that the Yankees have right now. Shouts to Booyah in the chat. Cole has an 2 ERA with Trev behind the plate and a 5 with Higgy behind the plate. Don't think that's a coincidence. Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing, though, as well, which is kind of weird. Cole, I mean, when Sanchez was around, was pitching to Higgy, and he was doing better. So I don't know how that perplexion has changed. Maybe teams have caught more in on it. But my thing with second base is Peraza's not up right now. We're all aware of that. He's hitting 350, doing all these different things in AAA. And you have 2 struggling second basemen, which you really haven't made a decision on. You kind of have with DJ. Yeah, you signed him to that $15 million contract. And I know, obviously, Li, who was here yesterday promoting it, said trade DJ. DJ's been awful as of late. Other than the home run he hit on Saturday, which was opposite field, got us back into the game, he's been dreadful. I don't know what it is. maybe it's the toe. Maybe he should have gotten surgery.
He never
Maybe
had the
it's not. But then
surgery.
again, $15 million, that should be able to net you a solid second baseman. As Donald said, apparently $300 million doesn't get you much anymore. So there's that. And then Glaber, the problem with him is he's inconsistent. So we can't rely on that. And then I know the Yankees are this team that we don't really think about the future. We have to think about right now and always winning a championship and all these different things. But there is no future at second base if the Yankees keep holding Peraza hostage in the minor leagues. There's no future there. Like Glaber, I mean, he's waiting to get paid. I think he costs about $10 million this year. And then DJ, again, has just been pretty much garbage. And listen, I love DJ as a player, but he's the prototypical player that the MLB needs nowadays, not just the power home run guys, guys that get on base and speed and all that sort of stuff. But it's just he's had such down year. And Donald, I know your DJ's one of the biggest supporters, kind of like I am. I mean, what do you think of the whole second base ordeal?
Well, first of all, I blame myself because I got a DJ LeMahieu jersey, and ever since I got his jersey, he's stunk. So I think the curse of Donald lives on. I have a terrible, terrible history with jerseys. It's really bad. Plaxico Burress. 2 weeks later, he shot himself. So I mean, it's a concerning trend that I have with jerseys. But no, I don't understand. DJ LeMahieu is basically uncorruptible. He's got an uncorruptible swing. He's old school. He plays the game the right way. He hits all the time. He hits for fun. And he's aged overnight. And I'm starting to get to the point where I can't even defend him. And I've been defending him every day for years now. But my God, this has been a concerning trend now. It just looks like he's aged. He's aged overnight, I think. It looks like he's lost a step, and it looks like he's maybe just lost a tiny bit on his swing. It's just hard to really consider what the hell's going on with DJ LeMahieu and his injury history, but I still prefer him over Gleyber Torres. I know Glaber's hitting better, but I would like to move on from Gleyber Torres. I would like to give Peraza the job. I would like to give Peraza the job at second, and have DJ play third base. I think that would at least probably answer a lot of our problems. Gleyber Torres for me is just he's not a winning baseball player. He's not a smart baseball player. He's got all the skill in the world. And it's not that he doesn't care. It's not a lack of desire because he really does care. It's not a case of that. It's just I don't know. I think there's a case of some people have too much talent, and I think that's the case with him because he doesn't give the air of someone who really wants to work for something. Like I never get that air from him. I get a Robbie Cano vibe a little bit from him. Like it's just he's got all the talent in the world, but just not that desire to take that next step. And you can't teach baseball IQ, and he just doesn't have it. And that's been going on for years now. Obviously, the Yankees screwed it up by moving him to shortstop. He's never been the same since. So I blame the Yankees more than anybody for Gleyber Torres not being the same player. But at this stage, you can get something for him. You can get a left fielder, call it Peraza. I'd feel better about it. But another question is Anthony Volpe. He doesn't look like the same. He looks like he's kind of struggling too. So, how do you all feel about Volpe?
I want to take a moment in time real quick. I just got some very unfortunate news. This is via Twitter. At least this is from a friend of mine. You guys know Jeffrey Turner, right? NYG Jeffy T that used to pop in here, right?
Yeah.
So via Taj from Big Blue Crew, Jeffrey is no longer with us.
Oh my
just
God.
found that end. Yeah.
What?
So
what?
Oh my God.
On Twitter, yeah. So okay, I'm gonna give some context here because this just fucking blew me away. We have this chat called Big Blue Crew, which is a bunch of Giants content creators. If you guys remember NYG Jeffy T, who came on here once with our call-in show,
He used to
the
pop
Mets
in the
fan,
chat
he's
all
a
the time,
Giants
of course.
fan, Nets fan. So apparently Taj just said in the chat, he's no longer with us. So
Do we know what happened?
Shit.
I'm finding that out right now. I'm sorry to hijack all this, but I'm just fucking speechless right now.
Oh my God.
So as I said, I apologize, but Jeffrey was a friend of mine, so gonna
Oh my God.
go ahead and dedicate this show to him if all is true. So
Prayers to him.
Prayers to his
And
family.
his
let me just
family,
make sure that this is true real quick. As I said, I apologize, but yeah,
Oh my God.
it's true. He's gone. So
My God.
wow. All right. I'm gonna try to shift this back. But yes, unfortunately, yeah. So anyway.
He was with us on a show, right? What
Yeah, he
show?
was. He was with us on the call-in show.
Which one was
Remember
that?
a few weeks back.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was in March or something like that.
Oh my
But I don't know, man.
God.
So just yeah. As I said, didn't mean to hijack, but Jeffrey always helped out my channel. He always tweeted us out and always came in here and had like
He always
Dude.
likes my stuff.
he always yeah, so I'm just a little shook up right now. But anyway, what's up, Bill? What's going on? Wasn't he a third baseman coming up? I think what was he coming up through the Cubs system?
I thought he was a shortstop. Maybe he wasn't. I'll look it up for you.
Yeah. Donald, with all due respect, Torres and Cano are nowhere near close to the same. Well, these types of attitude, like the
Yeah, that's what I meant. Attitude, not ability, of course.
Donald, his issue is that he feels entitled because they know they won't bench him. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. It's yeah. Matt.
Yeah, that's why I do blame the Yankees more than anyone for this, because all the times that he didn't run it out to first base, the Yankees had every opportunity to bench him the next day. They never did. But I think the biggest problem was moving him to shortstop, because he's never been the same player since, and he's admitted it since, that moving him to shortstop really affected him and really took him out. So, thanks, Brian Cashman. Great job.
Yeah, thanks, Brian Cashman. I'm going to go up to a couple more comments that I did miss. Pete actually thinks we should keep Gleyber Torres until the offseason. I think we should just deal him at the deadline. But the problem is, what are you going to get? What are you going to get at the deadline for him? I don't know where his value is. And that's the problem. Like, if we deal him at the deadline, are they going to call Peraza up? Probably not. So
He was primarily a shortstop, let me say, in the minors.
anyway, shouts to Hayes in the chat. Luca and Donald look like more like twins with the goatees. Yeah, they got the little
bit. A
I'm
little
He's got a little work to
on
do.
mine.
He's got a little work to do, but I can help him.
Yeah, Donald's the kingpin as of right now.
Exactly.
Peraza at second base and Florial at left field is somehow better than Torres and IKF at second base and left field. Yeah. I think the Peraza experiment is over. The Florial experiment is over, I think, but the Peraza experiment still has like this much life in it. Pete thinks we should give JD a month max, and if he's not performing well, bring Oswaldo to come up for third base. I mean, it's just a weird set of situations. Donald, I'm getting you a Jets Rogers jersey. Well, Luca has one.
So he can jinx the Jets. Oh, I see how it is. Hayes, I see how it is.
I don't know if that actually works, but I think there's a chance that it works. I think, I am a curse.
And Luca's a curse too.
Yeah. I had a James Harden All-Star jersey. I don't think he's been an All-Star since.
Damn.
Luca, you might want to Might want to lend him your Jets Rogers jersey.
I am literally a curse. The only people that I didn't corrupt was Eli Manning and Derek Jeter because they're goats. Other than that, I've corrupted everyone else.
Yeah.
R.J. Barrett corrupted him. Julius Randle corrupted him. It's a tough list. Giancarlo Stanton remember I got my Stanton jersey last year?
Yes.
He's played since. He's not played since. I am honestly a curse. So that's the only reason why I've not got a Jalen Brunson jersey. I'm obsessed with Jalen Brunson, but I don't know if I can get the jersey because I'm such a curse.
I would lay off for right now, Donald. I would lay off. Alex, we should give Donald a free Rogers Jets jersey. Well, I mean, Luca could give his Jets Rogers jersey to Donald, and then we could curse the Jets from there. So there's that. Either the Yankees were cheating in 2019 and 2020, and he benefited the most from it, or the Yankees changed the way he hit and completely killed any positives he had in his game. All of which are possibilities.
I say the latter. They probably changed the way he hit because if you notice, guys, Gleyber Torres is better when he hits opposite field, but the Yankees, I think, focus so much on him pulling the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. The uppercut swing. The analytics.
Matt's called juice balls. Donald's issues. We talked about this one.
Salute.
Sunil in the chat. I got the full beard on. The difference between Girardi and Boone is clear when it comes to these players being lazy on the base pass and at the plate. Girardi got fired for tough love while Boone gets extended for clapping. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the unfortunate part. P said Milwaukee is most interested if the case Milwaukee has a plethora of pitching. Yep. No, that's true. They do have a lot of pitching. RIP to Jeff if true. I'm getting it now that it was blood blisters. So
oh my god,
that's not great. Don, I got a Plaxico jersey arriving tomorrow. LOL. If that's a coincidence, I mean that would be just straight up funny.
Wow.
Of course, Sunil Stone Cold Matt Riley was on yesterday. FYI, and not me. What's up, LI? Donald, I'm getting you a Wilson Rogers jersey, so make sure you wear it at the Jets game.
You guys just want to curse me. That's what you want to do.
I think it's the funniest thing. Jacob says, "Yo, I couldn't be caught dead with a Jets jersey, regardless of the jersey number." That's a good point. I mean, I don't think I would wear one.
It's against my morals.
Yeah, unless we had the bet last year? I think it was when
and you failed.
I failed. Yes. Well, the Yankees are fucking stupid, right? That 2019 thing was about DJ, not Torres. Oh, all right. But yeah, I mean, I guess. I think the juice balls came to play in those 2 years specifically. Wait, is Aaron Boone the new Jason Garrett? That's a good question. So, I mean, I don't know.
All Aaron Boone does is just yell at umpires. I've not seen him actually manage yet.
Yeah,
he tries to get himself out of the game just to avoid managing it.
Yeah, like Brian Dable makes coaching adjustments. Like I haven't seen Aaron Boone kind of. Again, we kind of talked about this when we were doing the Orioles stream. He's like a game managing quarterback.
Yeah, like Aaron Boone's war. I want to know Aaron Boone's war.
God. I had Turkish food tonight, Istanbuli cuisine. Yeah, Turkish food is good. There is a place probably about 5 to 6 blocks away from me. Bought it for the Grossi tour. He's always got the Giants guy wearing it in his videos, so I had to get one. Yes, Tom Grossi, the character that he is. This is why I said do not re-sign DJ LeMahieu after the 2020 season. I don't know because you still would have had Gleyber, and Gleyber has not turned out great either. So Donald should buy a Daniel Jones jersey. I think we're gonna leave that to pass right now.
We should avoid that.
We'll leave that to pass right now. Okay, we want him to live up to the contract.
We want to make the playoffs, don't we?
Yes, we want to make the playoffs. Savages in the box. LMFAO. Luker. Stop paying Taylor Swift. Boston is up early 5-2. Pedro's still pitching. Send Matsui and Posada back to the plate back-to-back. Yes, of course. Everybody, at least most Yankee fans should know the context in that whole thing in the situations. Donald, you should fix the curse by buying terrible players' jerseys. I guess that's a good point, and this kind of would coincide with it. Donald, fuck no, stay away from Giants jerseys. He could buy a Gillen jersey, but I mean, Gillen's already terrible, so it's not
he's
like,
already fucking awful.
It's like, how worse is he gonna get? So, you could buy the long snapper jersey or something, or I don't know. But
do they even sell Jamie Gillen jerseys? That's what I want to know.
You're making me a curious George right now. Prices go as high as $169.
That's awful.
That's more than Jamie Gillen's worth.
Donald, you are banned from buying current Giant player jerseys.
I'll accept that.
We're gonna accept the ban. Donald needs a Donaldson jersey. He just,
wear that asshole's jersey.
You just have the Donaldson, but you just cut off the sun, so it would just be.
That's right, Donald.
It's like, are you wearing a Josh Donaldson jersey? No, I'm wearing a Donald jersey. What are you talking about?
A me jersey, yeah.
Donald Stewart from Parsippany. What's going on, Donald? I'm pretty sure all three of us dislike Jersey, so we're not from Jersey. I think all of our experiences kind of cap that off. Luca, I know you've been pretty quiet, and we've been talking a lot with the second base situation. What are your thoughts?
I've been on the Glaber train for trading him since last year because he's so inconsistent. It's not even just like inconsistent, on the field. It's mentally. Like I don't like a player who's temperamental. I've said this before. I don't like a player who's just randomly going to have errors. Like, it's okay to have an error once in a while. I'm not justifying bad performance. Everybody makes mistakes, but he gets away with the same bullshit and nothing ever happens. That's my problem with him. That's the problem with the Yankees too, when they don't hold players accountable. So he's never been the same since 2019. I think, when he starts playing well towards the deadline, if there are teams interested in him and you can get something valuable like a relief pitcher or left fielder, I would absolutely trade him. And then bring up Peraza, have Volpe play second, because our buddy Derek from NYY Recaps actually brought that up because he was looking at his Baseball Savant page. He says, you know what? The one thing that sticks out with Volpe, not so much in a good way, is the arm strength. He doesn't have fantastic strength as on the arm at shortstop. So put him at second base, Peraza at short. And that's what I've been co-signing for the entire season. But the Yankees obviously did not bring up Peraza at the start of the season. And they've obviously wrote it out with Glaber and Volpe, which is fine. But now you need to trade Glaber.
Didn't interrupt. I've always been on the train that Peraza is our shortstop.
Exactly.
I believe that he is a much better shortstop than Volpe, and it's not a disrespect for Volpe, but I think Peraza is better. But Volpe's more marketable than Volpe. Volpe's more marketable than Peraza, and I think with him being the homegrown Yankee kid, Yankee fan, whole thing, I think they could market him at shortstop better than Peraza. So they went all in on Volpe. And again, it's not a disrespect to Volpe. I'm not jumping off the Volpe train. None of that. He's really good. I think he's a second baseman. But I do think Peraza is a much better shortstop. Like, he's got the arm strength. You've already seen it. He's got a crazy glove, ridiculous glove. You saw last year. How good was he at shortstop last year?
He was like a wizard.
Yeah, he was a wizard there. So I don't really get the Yankees' treatment of him. I never have, and I never will. It's just completely mind-boggling to me. It's not like Florial, who is legitimately a quadruple A player. Like, this guy has already proven he can play, man. He played last year. He did great. Batted over 300, had an OPS, which was above the major league average. So he already showed that he could do it. And they've ignored him.
It's really just unfortunate because it's, again, like they ignored Florial. And it's like, to think about it this way, the second base / shortstop position was less blocked off, if you guys know what I mean. Like, Florial didn't get his chance because Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks and then Clint Frazier. All those three guys. Like, LeMahieu, you could still move him around. What was I going to say? You can still move him around. Torres, I mean, obviously you could still trade him. It's not like somebody else. It's just interesting, but I do want to get someone else's thoughts. Rob, what's going on, man?
Hey!
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What is up? It's been a little while, but
it has, yeah.
If you want to give your first thoughts on the Yankees, Rob.
Well, I do want to say this because it's been a while since I talked to you guys. And it's been a while since it happened, but big congratulations on the 1,000.
Thank you.
Very, very well deserved. You guys put in a ton of work. So yeah, congratulations. As for the Yankees, I gotta say I'm actually quite happy with where they are right now, considering it could have been a lot worse, like a lot worse. You think of how many players were out before the season even started, and then the guys we lost during the year. We could have been out of this thing. And the fact that we're sitting in a playoff spot, a few games up for that third wild card spot right now, I'll take it, considering the alternative is they're probably sitting like 6 or 7 games out of a playoff spot. Now, obviously, there's a lot of criticism deserved to this front office. They did not get a left fielder. They still don't have a left fielder. And I don't know when the end is in sight when we will get a left fielder. But considering it could have been a lot worse, this has been a storm to hit us so far to start the season. They've survived, and we're sitting, 10 games over 500, 9 games over. I'll take it.
All right. I'm just going to answer some questions and also comments. 8-10 with games over 8, something along those lines, without Rodon, Stanton, and Canley. 1K, woot, nice, just boys. Yes. Obviously, we hit that in March, but once again, we thank Rob. And if you guys haven't already, I'm going to throw the link because I'm doing a couple other different things right now, kind of multitasking. Go subscribe to Pinstripe Chronicles and go subscribe to Nerding Out Sports if you haven't already. Let's see, quadruple A, typo AAA. I go for a drink and not Rob's here. Nice. What is up, Bill? Thank God, I was worried the guest was going to be Brian. Well, sneak peek for you guys. Brian is buying another hat. So we're going to get to see that maybe in one of the newest episodes coming up. What's up, Daryl? He says, what's up, guys? Let's hope Herman kept his hands out of the Vaseline jar this time. He should have gotten 20 games suspended. I don't care what anyone says. As far away from my team as possible. I'm pretty sure they had Glaber playing third in the minors. If that's the case, why not try him at third up here? Second base is open. I know that was an LI idea for a little bit, but I think he's on the brink of a payday by somebody, so he's not going to try out and kind of ruin his worth at another position. Then again, too, I'm not a Glaber believer, but you don't want to recycle the experiment. I would see if the Guardians would be interested. I'm not bringing Naylor to the Reds. No, I would not do that at all. I don't think that would ever happen. No, they just signed J-Ram. They're keeping Naylor. I don't know. Nerding Out was one of my first Giants follows before I found everyone else. Yeah, I do remember you when I used to go with the pre-games in the chat. So Bill's been around, but he's been a very loyal supporter as well.
Salute, Bill. Good to see you, my guy.
Always good to see Bill.
Veto Li. Was it me to Li's trades? No. Okay, so we're bringing back the whiteboard tonight, which is a very good thing.
He sent me some trade.
Li's getting angry in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Florial and how he basically hasn't gotten a fair chance. I mean, I'm not on the Florial train. I get his argument, but I think it's pretty much a dead duck the way the Yankees have treated him at this point. Herman has a PB&J sandwich promotion tonight at T-Mobile Park. Well, hopefully he doesn't stick his hand in the jelly jar if that's what you're referring to. Let's see. See if I missed anything else. Let's see. I think Brian's gonna win that bet. Yeah, probably. But stop the whiteboard shit. So we have one protester to the whiteboard. But anyway, I wanna jumpstart this. Actually, let's stay on the same path because I do want to get Rob's thoughts on this. I think personally, second base is a bigger hole, at least right now, than people anticipate because, and I'm not trying to create new worries, but Peraza's in the minor leagues hitting 350. You got DJ LeMahieu, who is pretty much off as of right now. I mean, he's not looking good. He hit the home run when we were there on Saturday, but other than that, it's been far and few between. And Gleyber Torres has been inconsistent. I can't find out what type of player he is because he's never consistent and all that sort of stuff. So, Rob, what are your thoughts on the whole second base position?
I think when it's all said and done, and it's not going to be an overnight thing, Peraza will be our second baseman. But they have to find a good trade partner for Gleyber. You can't just give him away. He is still productive. He's still having a good year offensively. Defensively, he is down from last year, but I don't know if they want to because then you're getting rid of who's probably, he's been your third best player outside of Judge and Rizzo this year. So you'd have to make sure you're getting a left fielder, first of all, and then maybe even something else. And I don't know if that trade's out there right now. And that's been the case all season. I don't know if that trade was available back in the spring, if it was available back in the offseason. I didn't want to trade Glaber because he was one of our better players last year, and he continues to be this year. But if that trade does come up and you can get a left fielder for him and maybe a bullpen arm or something, then you might have to do it. Because it's a shame what they're doing to Peraza right now. And I get it, there is technically nowhere to put him, but they should find a way to play this guy because he should not be playing against AAA pitchers right now. He's too good for AAA. He needs to be up in the majors getting everyday at-bats. It's an absolute disgusting travesty how they treated their number 3 prospect.
Good point. Good points all around. Glaber for Yelich, who says no. I say no. Peraza should be the third baseman. Vincent out, huge for Miami. The only time Florial had consistent ABs was in August 2021 when he hit 300 and 400 OBP. Like, again, 9-game sample size. You might as well just call him up to see if even there's something there. I mean, yeah, I would do that. I mean, I think it's a pretty much dead duck thing, and this is not down on Florial. It's more down the Yankees' treatment of him. I love Williams from Milwaukee. He's got closer-type stuff. Well, we don't have a closer, so there's that. But Peraza at third base, what's up, Crackle Nuts? Or left field, Cabrera cannot hit. I'm down on Cabrera, but I do want to obviously get into that at some point. Florial and Peraza should be given the opportunity. Yes, sir. So I think we kind of discussed this a little bit last week. I'm going to start with Donald on this one. He hasn't gotten much better. I have the stats, going to have it right here. So in the last 7, Anthony Volpe's hitting 115, and in the last 15, he's hitting 170. So obviously he's a rookie. He didn't really get much AAA action, if at all, last year. Are you concerned about his struggles? And if you're not that concerned, what's your timetable to start getting concerned?
Aussie?
Anthony Volpe.
Volpe, yeah. I don't know. The thing is, he did struggle initially. Every single time he's been called up, he always kind of struggles initially. He struggled in AAA initially, and I think it's probably just that. I think it's probably just rookie struggles. The Savant, if you look at the Savant stuff, it's not that great. It's kind of, it's not pretty reading. I don't know how to assess him just yet. It's early. He's showed a little bit of power, a little bit of pop, strikes out far too much. Not great contact. Defense is okay. He's been pretty good, much better than we've had in a couple of years. So that's something. But his arm strength is an issue, I think. Yeah, I'll say I've been underwhelmed. I've been underwhelmed. I'll say that. I probably would have expected a little more at this stage. But listen, he is a rookie and he is young. And he's already shown a couple of clutch hits and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. So, he has come through at times. It's just, he's not been very consistent. I like him at the bottom of the order. I think he's somebody that you bat ninth right now. I don't think he should be batting anywhere near the top of the order until he's comfortable learning how to hit cutters and off speed and curveballs and things like that. It's been a bit of an issue for him right now. And high fastballs, you can't seem to catch up with them. So those are certainly some things that he needs to work on. I think he needs to work on them at the bottom of the order, but I'm not down on him. I still think he's going to be excellent. I think he's going to be very productive at shortstop or wherever he ends up at the major league level. I think the Yankees are all in him at shortstop, but I still think Peraza is a better shortstop. But he's going to be fine. But yeah, it's been underwhelming. I'll say I've been underwhelmed.
Hey, Luca.
Yeah, obviously, Volpe's having struggles. We expected that as a rookie. You know, he didn't get a lot of time in AAA. I still somewhat think he's still pressing, but he doesn't take what the pitchers kind of give him. He kind of over capitalizes or whatever. I can't think of the term right now, but I I would start to get concerned after the All Star break, and he still continues to struggle. But his defense has been okay thus far. I just hope I hope the Yankees stick him at the bottom of the lineup consistently, and that's that. I think he still has to pick it up hitting wise.
Rob?
I mean, yeah, I can't go too crazy and call him a bust or anything. I'm not gonna. I don't want to put that label on him at all. I think it's still was he 55 games into his career. He's 21, and Donald already mentioned it earlier. He didn't get much time in AAA. A lot of the game's better players, at least young players, struggled. Look at Julio Rodriguez; he struggled out of the gate. Mike Trout struggled out of the gate. And I'm not saying that Volpe's going to be Mike Trout, but sometimes it takes a little time. You know, you're not going to if he started his first 50 games and he was hitting like 370 right now, we'd be screaming, this guy's Jeter, that he's going to win 6 rings and all this stuff. In a crazy way, maybe it's a kind of a good thing that he's going through these growing pains now instead of maybe in October or something. I think there's still plenty of time. There's some things he needs to work on, especially with the off-speed stuff. He can't hit the high fastball right now. Donald's already mentioned all these things, but it's glaring when you watch him. And he is pressing. He's definitely trying to break out of it. And you see it all the time when anybody struggles. They try to get that big hit to get them out of it, and they ended up just doing worse. So I think he just needs to kind of simplify things, and maybe hitting at the bottom of the order is going to really help him. It would help if there was some better hitters in front of him, hitting in the 7 and 8 spot. But I think over time he's going to be better. Yeah, and I agree with Luca. If we get to the All-Star break and this is still the case, then we probably have a little more reason to be worried. But right now, we're 2 months in. We've seen some good. We've seen some bad. Let's just hope that it gets better and better as the season progresses.
It's just a little weird that Peraza looked much better last year than Volpe has shown this year. And they don't like Peraza at all.
Yeah.
I do think I'm sorry to interrupt, Don, but I'm going to say there is more pressure on Volpe, and I think he's feeling that because the Yankees gave him right away. The Yankees mentioned, it was supposed to be not Peraza. I'm sorry. I have to be that stopgap last year, and he overstayed his welcome, and I think he still has. But Peraza came in, at the end of September, or I should say, in that September month, with basically no pressure. And he flourished. He flourished in October as well. Very good defensive fielder. So I think Volpe's still feeling the pressure. Will he continue to feel the pressure? Yes, but how will he answer?
Good points all around. Obviously, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me with this whole Peraza thing. Obviously, it seems it's in line with the Florial treatment, but Peraza was hitting something like 300, I think, last year. He hit a few home runs. And obviously, Volpe's home runs, I think he could probably – let me see. I got his page up right now. He has a total of 7 home runs in the season. I think he could hit over 20 if he stays up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he needs to be more fundamentally sound. Again, the high fastball and all these different things. He's got the IQ. It's just it's not all hooking there right now. I think he's feeling the pressure and all these sort of different things. So – we'll see. I'm not going to sit here and start, calling for him to be a bust or the Yankees to trade for a shortstop or anything. But I think in due time, because he is the number one prospect, you've got to get concerned. Maybe around July, August, see how because there was a little while he started coming up a little bit and then he just went back down with the struggles, unfortunately. So,
well, some players do struggle, even for a couple of years. Look at Kelenic in Seattle. He was a top guy and he sucked for his first couple of years, and he was a big piece of that Cano trade, and he's finally putting it together this year. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case for Volpe, but we do have to be patient. We all wanted this. We were all saying it. He's got to be the guy coming out of the spring. They got to put him out there day one. They can't do the same thing they did to previous prospects with him. He's got to be there. And, yeah, then the point about the pressure is definitely a thing because he knows the pressure's on him, and it still is because this kid – the youngest opening day starter since Jeter, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of pressure. And I know we don't want to, I'm never going to compare him to the captain, but there's a lot of people that are going to continue to say you're the last shortstop, since Jeter at this age, and he grew up idolizing Jeter and all this stuff. It's going to keep coming back to Derek Jeter. So I'm sure he may not ever admit it, but there's definitely some pressure, and let's just see how he answers the call. Still way too much time for us to be worried, but yeah, there's reason to be concerned is probably the better way to put it.
I would definitely say that. How many years Gallo been in the biggest and still can't hit 200 on a season? I mean, that's the player he is. That's kind of what we know.
Gallo was to be fair, Gallo was an all-star one year, and he at least popped off for that 1 year as an all-star, but he still can't hit consistently as like he's the modern player. He either walks, strikes out, or hits a homer.
3 outcomes. My ideal postseason line would be Bader, Bellinger, right field Judge, Peterson, DH. I mean, I wanted Jock, but obviously it's far and few between. I think Dominguez is going to be the best player out of the young core. Volpe, Peraza, Florio, Wells, Jones, Everson, Pierre. I think Spencer Jones is going to be better than Dominguez, but
yeah, I think Spencer Jones will be a monster.
And I don't think Dominguez has the range to play center. That's my opinion. Because he's more bulky, and that's not really calling for range. Volpe, Peraza should be up here. Exactly. So Volpe has more hope than Canna shit. Yeah. Well, if you're talking about Canna, Mark Canna shit. But I'm gonna group this because I do want to talk about some positives because the Yankees did come off of a winning series. And once again, it's a irregular type of grouping. The bullpen, or the pitching in general, if you choose, and is Waldo Cabrera. I'm going to start with Rob on the Cabrera thing because I know me and I think Donald disagree at least with Cabrera as of right now. What are your thoughts on him? I feel like obviously he's not an everyday player, but to the fact that every at bat his plate discipline is just off, and that affects the Yankees' bottom of the lineup where you need guys that can hit. What are your thoughts, Rob?
I think he's getting sent down once Donaldson's healthy, and then when Stanton gets back, they'll probably either Bowers or Calhoun. But it's a shame because he was so good last year in the regular season and in the playoffs. The guy, he killed it, and I never wanted to put him at one position. I was like, if he's coming off the bench, he's your Ben Zobrist type. That's beautiful. That's a perfect scenario. But whatever it is, it just hasn't clicked. He had a fantastic spring, much like Volpe did, and they're both going through these struggles. And I know Cabrera's technically not a rookie, but he barely played last year, or enough time for me to call him a rookie. But it is interesting because he's the guy that you would want to be the next, like if there's an injury, he can take over in left, he can take over in right, or at short or third, or maybe even first base because he grabbed the glove and played first in the spring. So, and he's a switch hitter and he's got pop. And in Yankee Stadium from the left side of the plate, you got some pop. You can hit 25 by accident. We all know this. He's ideal for the bench and a guy that can just play everywhere. And for whatever reason, he's not hitting. I don't know what it is. Is he like Volpe? He's just got not as much pressure, but there is pressure on him because, hey, everyone wants to see the young kids get a shot. He got a shot to make the team. He's starting on opening day. We were finally seeing less of Aaron Hicks until we saw too much of Aaron Hicks. And Cabrera really could have ran away with this thing and cemented himself in left field, and we wouldn't have to be searching for an outfielder still. But his defense hasn't really been as good also, and he's played short this year. He struggled a little bit. And the fact that he's playing third tonight and IKF's playing short tells me he is getting sent down. So I think he's going to have to go to AAA and try to work on some things with his swing. It seems more uppercut than last year. And last year was he had a more compact level swing. And this year it's like he's trying to get too much. Like it's like us in the postseason when we don't hit, everyone's trying to get the home run. That's what it seems like he's doing right now. Yeah.
Exactly like this.
And it's been rough watching because I love Ozzy and I really wanted to see him succeed. I thought he could have ran away with left field this year, but here we are into month number 3 and we're still searching for a left fielder.
The unfortunate part. Luca, your thoughts?
Regarding Cabrera, I definitely expect him to be better. I am actually in agreement with Rob. I don't expect him to play just one position. I think he could be used almost everywhere. But I kind of agree with Rob as well. I think he'll eventually be sent down, but it sucks because obviously Ozzy's a switch hitter, but you want that left-handed presence at the back end of your lineup, and the Yankees really don't have that right now. Like Jake Bauers has been meh, Willie Calhoun's been terrible. The Yankees don't have that left-handed presence at the bottom of the lineup. They have Rizzo at the top, which is fine, but what do they have at the bottom? They really don't have a proper. I know, again, Cabrera's a switch hitter, but we often face right-handed pitchers. Somewhat of a lefty presence at the bottom line, which hurts.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Jacob, as for your question, this is probably about more than 5 years old. It's got a little bit of a bite off. Nobody bit on it, I promise. But that's your question. Hey guys, I want Volpe to work on some things, and I think it's good. I think he's probably going to write out another text. But yeah, no, Volpe needs to work on some things. Kerm, what's up? He says Volpe's not playing tonight. Yes, Volpe has the day off. Answer this one. He almost gave us that boost last year, which we needed, and he was one of the only players who offensively showed up consistently in the postseason. If you're talking about Cabrera, I thought he wasn't he not good in the postseason? I mean, Luke, I'll probably am I wrong? Because I feel like he wasn't that good. But anyway, we should have pulled off the Sean Murphy trade. That would have cost a lot. I mean, I don't know that I would have. I mean, I don't know how he's doing with Atlanta, but I don't know. I think Rordvet should be getting playing time, and it's odd once again because they traded for Rordvet in that horrible Donaldson trade, and they're not playing him, so they're not even standing on their own ground, which is quite odd. What up to Benji in the chat? Defensively, he wasn't good. 2 home runs against Cleveland, made some errors in left field too. So, yeah, I mean that's what happens when, at least at the time, Aaron Hicks was one of your options. Ben Zobrist was good. Cabrera is no Ben Zobrist. Let's get that straight. I mean, Ben Zobrist could play everywhere. He is a better version of Oswaldo Cabrera or vice versa. He never makes the right trades with Oakland. Yeah, it doesn't always seem to work out. Catchers, we only get defensive but no offense. Well, I mean, most of the time you should have a catcher that's I would rather have them good defensively. But you should have the rest of your lineup kind of surrounding that, and the Yankees really don't have that other than Rizzo and Aaron Judge. Rordvet is the new Florial at present. I would hope not. Because they traded for him. So Cabrera is a bench player, should be a pinch runner or defensive substitute, play every so often as a starter. It's Cabrera or one of the outfielders, DFA, no other options for JD. Yes. As Dane Huber said, they're using him wrong, and I think he's pressing. Well, I mean, he's not an everyday player. Let's get that straight. Did you see Gary Sanchez sign with the Padres? Yes. He is making his float around the league. Luca, you look like you have something to say.
I was going to say, Oswaldo hit 105 in the playoffs last year, but I'm not, actually 075, but I'm not going to let that dictate him. But this regular season stuff is concerning, even though towards the back half of last season, in the regular season, he was very good.
Hopefully Rizzo okay. Yeah, I think Rizzo's fine. I mean, are they playing him tonight? Let's see. Look at the Yankees lineup. No, they're not.
Boone said yesterday, it was funny. Boone said yesterday, he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. Oh, 46 minutes ago, there was a tweet by Brian Hoke. Well, the Yankees are holding out Anthony Rizzo due to neck discomfort. There will not be any further tests, but he's available off the bench.
He's going to the IL. That means he's going to the IL like tomorrow or something.
Hey, Andre Chaparro. Let's go Andre Chaparro. They'll probably bring up some bum, though, or just put Bowers at first. Let's see. If Class A is on the trade market, do you make that trade? Obviously, Class A from Cleveland. It depends what you have to give up. I mean, Class A is pretty good. I think he had better stats last year than this year. But
what about Bednar?
Bednar is also an option that's been thrown out there for the past 2 years.
Well, Pittsburgh's winning right now. I don't know if they're going to trade it. They might be buying at the deadline.
Yeah, that's true. They're in second place, kind of like the D-backs. Miami up 12. I'm having Cano vibes on Sanchez because he went to a lot of teams. I mean, yeah, what was it? Obviously, after the Yankees went to the Mets, to the Mariners, then the Mets, and then obviously we went to San Diego.
Padres.
So that's your point. Hey, Rizzo, see you in July. I really hope not. Guardians are trading him. I don't know about that. Chaparro is definitely going to be up, or else we DFA Cashman if we could. If we could, of course. Keep in mind, JD hasn't been activated yet, so JD might be up, which Rizzo goes to the IL, and they don't have to demote anyone and keep everyone happy. Yeah, in that situation, they probably just throw Jake Bauers at first base, which I wouldn't like, and then he'd probably play with LeMahieu, but it is what it is. If you got to give up Peraza, Sweeney, Pereira for Class A, I don't know that I would do that, but obviously we have some time. We have time. I mean, orange ring. Okay.
Did he hate Pereira, Peraza, and Sweeney
Yeah, I think that's
for
what he
a
said.
relief pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they would do that, but I think we have a lot more time till the trade deadline. We got like 2 months, so there's always going to be those
one of them,
discussions.
but not 3 of them.
Yeah,
We didn't give up that much for we didn't want to give that up for Castillo. Why would we give it up for a 1-inning pitcher?
Exactly.
that's a good point. It depends how much the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees value closer that much.
Clearly, because we haven't had one for 3 years.
We haven't had one for so long.
Exactly.
I mean, we could always
They
just trade
don't-
for Chapman again, but that's not happening, and it better not.
I was going to say, in addition, they don't even value like relievers and set roles. Like, again, this is the modern era of baseball where I grew up watching baseball where there'd be a 7th inning guy, an 8th inning guy, a 9th inning guy, closer, technically, 6th inning guy, whatever. But the Yankees, nor modern baseball really doesn't value that.
They don't value left field either.
Yeah, they don't.
Tell me
When
about
is Canley coming back? "Quote unquote" soon. He should have been in a rehab assignment. I think just
He's
recently.
going to join the Yankees on the road trip. I think they said L.A.
Yeah, Chapman, but he sucks after the sticky stuff. If they traded for Chapman once again, I'd run into a spiked wall head first. Chapman is as good as a bottle of Tums or Alka-Seltzer. Well, Tums is all right. Rob,
How
because
long
you
did
had
it take for Brian Cashman to realize that actually first base needs to be a productive position? It took him years to figure that out.
Nick Johnson. And then
It's true. You look
I
at
mean,
it. Like,
after
look at the
Teixeira-
first baseman that we had after Teixeira retired. There was and Voigt,
Tyler
Wait.
Austin.
Tyler
Greg Bird.
Austin, Greg Bird. They loved Greg Bird, and then
I was
they were trying out randoms at first base for a while. They had just a procession, and none of them could play actual first base. And he didn't value first base until he went, oh shit, maybe we need Rizzo.
That caught us all by
Chris
surprise.
Carter.
Chris Carter. Cashman's such a weird GM. Like, he doesn't value positions where you normally expect power. Like, he doesn't value like power at like the corner spots for a while. Doesn't value power at left field. He's a weird GM in that regard.
You'd think he'd look at the past, like 09, how many lefties and switch hitters did we have in that lineup? Swisher, Cano was a
Damon.
lefty, Melky, Johnny Damon. Look at the 90s. We had so much pop from the left side of the plate if you want to count Bernie in there. You would think Cashman was the guy who was part of that 90s. You know, he would help build that 90s team. He was right there with Stick. And he obviously was the GM for the 09 team. And even when we didn't win in, 2010, 11, and 12, we had a bunch of lefties that can hit. And you just think, why haven't we done that?
And that's another thing he doesn't value. Lefty righties. He doesn't
Especially
value
in our stadium. Why are you not valuing lefties with power? That's why I wanted Conforto. I was like, go get Conforto. He can hit 30 in Yankee Stadium. And that's how you win in October. I know the home run is like it's the modern baseball is you win by the home run, but it's true. Because look at how the Astros won last year. They get a couple of guys on, and then Jordan Alvarez hits a 3-run bomb. Like, that's how you win in the playoffs. And the Yankees have the recipe to do it, but we don't get the guys on base, and we don't have lefty power in our own freaking stadium, which is known for its short porch. You would think something would click. And then you have Randy Levine talking about how did you hear what he said the other day? Like, we want to put the best roster.
We take care of the cash. Or
Yep.
something.
Yep.
Our focus is putting the best roster on the field. But I'm like, well, you're paying Josh Donaldson $25 million. Aaron Hicks was starting how many games for you over the last 5 years? Like, you really want to open your mouth right now, Levine? Like, he just proved to me that Hal Steinbrenner should probably be like free of any blame. It's him, and it's him and Cashman that need to be like the targets and the bullseyes right over them dumb faces.
Yeah.
Especially Levine. I can't stand him.
Every time Levine speaks, you cringe.
It's like it's just so bad. Benji says says the Astros got Yordan for minor leaguers. Yeah, I mean I forget who the Dodgers gave up in that. Well, whatever was vice versa. But anyway,
and by the way, I agree with the panel. I think Ozzy needs to be sent down.
Yes. And the problem is, though, it's just like
The
there's
swing's too long. That's the problem. The swing is far too long. I don't know whether he's been yankified or whether this is him, but that swing is a little too long and it's different than it was last year. So maybe sending him down to the minors shouldn't be seen as a negative. It might maybe help him just to get back to basics a little bit. Regain his swing, regain his confidence, and he'll be back. I like him. I like him a lot. I think what we saw last year is the real Aussie. I don't think this is the real Aussie. But as I said, there is a reason why there's more slumps, and he's very much in one. But I think there's a mechanics issue as well with his swing. So I do think that he needs to be demoted just to get that stuff back. But he's never going to be an everyday major league left fielder. I think he needs to be a guy that can play numerous positions at a high level. So I think he needs to be demoted to get that back.
I think we've coined a new term, and the chat seems to like it. Yankified. I think it's got to be a new term now because the chat is just lighting up.
How else can we describe what Brian Cashman and his cronies do to really good players?
They got yanked. If you're referring to Hector. So they got yanked. We got yankified. So it's all part of the same equation. All part of the same family. Is Peraza
Make that a t-shirt? Yankified.
Getting a shot, or is he trade bait?
That is a good t-shirt.
Yes. But no, I don't think Peraza is going to get a shot unless like our entire lineup goes injured and all that stuff. Donald, how about ineptness? Does that fit? Well, I personally like yankified. I think that's just damn. That's a trade kicking the Dodgers right in the dick. Of course, that is referring to this one. Dodgers traded Jordan for Josh Fields. Ended up not being on the 2020 championship team. One of the worst trades ever, and honestly, a fireable offense for Friedman. Well, there's also the James Shields trade, but that's a whole different story. Let's see. Stroman talked bad about the Yankees. Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited over the Stroman stuff. I'm still not on that train of going to get Stroman at the deadline. I know it's today because he shut down the Rays, but I'm sorry. I'd like to stay away from that. Who the Yankees are going to get? That is the mystery of the trade deadline. We don't even know.
I've seen a lot of people mention Alexis Diaz and Jake Fraley from the Reds. As like Diaz is more of a closer type guy, and Fraley's obviously a left fielder, but I think he has more speed. He doesn't really have much pop.
Yeah, this is referring to Randy Levine's comments. Best roster on the field 2 days later. Higgy plays like a 5-year-old who doesn't have a baseball IQ. Yeah, that was.
Think they play Rortvedt more, right? Like you'd think. I know
Exactly.
You mentioned earlier. Like Brian Cashman will never admit when he does something wrong because we still have IKF on the roster and we're still going to trot JD out there. You'd think he'd be like, I got one shot to justify this trade somehow, and they're not playing the one guy that people actually want to see. Like there was the whole joke in his first game. He did the Cena, like he's running with it. Like, oh, is he real? And they didn't play him after that. And I'm still puzzled. Like he's a left-handed bat. We need left-handed bats. Why are you married to Higashioka, who sucks? He's going to get you a couple of hits every so often, but he's a backup. He's a backup's backup at this point. He should not be playing over Rortvedt. And I know Trevino's going to be healthy like tomorrow or something, or maybe the final game of the series, and they're going to send Rortvedt down, and it's a damn shame because Higgy, I never really liked him, even over Gary Sanchez. A couple of years ago, people were saying Higgy should start over Gary. I didn't want that because it reminded me of Austin Romine all over again. When Romine got the everyday role, he sucked. And he's like, some players are just more of a backup. Higgy, he's like 30. I don't know. His defense is incredibly overrated. It's not that good. And Rortvedt, and Rortvedt's actually known for defense. And because, again, lefty in Yankee Stadium, there's always that chance that you can have 15 home runs from your catcher. You take that. So I don't know why they won't play.
Also, can I just say, he also calls a terrible game.
Exactly. I was about to mention that. Thank you, Donald.
Horrifying game. Just look at Garrett Cole's stats with Higashioka catching him to when he doesn't. It's almost 6. His ERA is almost 6 with Higashioka catching him. That says it all because he can't call a game, and his defense has been dreadful. And to be fair to Rob, you've been saying for a while now you've never liked Higashioka. You always said he sucked. Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought he was better than Gary Sanchez, but his defense is just really – it's getting worse. These last 2 years are getting worse. And offensively, yeah, he'll hit the occasional home run, but he's not good. There's nothing he's actually good at. It's crazy that he's your regular backup catcher, considering how bad he is. And I wonder where he would play. Would he play for any other team in the majors as a backup?
Not unless you're complete garbage.
Minor league deal. I mean, the thing is with Higashioka, a lot of people thought he was good because Sanchez was so bad. But while Sanchez is gone, Higashioka is like worse. I actually think Higgy was worse than Austin Romine. Romine was a seasoned backup. That's fine. Higgy is like 10 times worse, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Romine was good.
Yeah. Crackleman says, Higgy sucks toenails. I want Gary Sanchez back. Well, Gary is far shot. I think he's shot because he's been tossed around a lot. Is Austin Wells getting a shot this year? I don't think so.
I hope so.
I don't
want to see what he
there's
can
not
do.
really there's not really a place to put him, if you will.
That's
but
true.
We'll see. No pain at all. Sunil says, all right, guys, I'm going to bounce. Get ready for the game tonight. Be ready for the punt contest because, remember, Willie Calhoun's batting third. So
enjoy, Sunil. Please check in when you see IKF screw up at shortstop.
Yep.
I was going to mention, you guys referenced the Randall Levine comments about putting the best baseball team on the field. And then Aaron Boone, somebody asked him about IKF playing shortstop, and he's like, IKF was going to play shortstop at some point.
Yeah. What does that even mean?
It's the prelude to Cabrera getting sent down. Why else would they play him tonight?
Yeah.
Because if Cabrera's there tomorrow, he's going to – I mean, if he's on the roster when JD comes back, he'd be the backup shortstop because IKF hasn't played there all year. They turned him into a freaking outfielder because they didn't want to play him at shortstop again this year. But now, since Oswaldo is more than likely going to get sent down because they don't want to get rid of Jake Bauers, God forbid you lose him, they're going to send down Cabrera. I don't know what
wouldn't it be a Yankee thing that they keep Cabrera and then it makes none of this what happens today make any sense? That's a very Yankee thing.
It is.
Yeah, it would be definitely weird, but again, it's the Yankees.
Yeah. Benji says, is Cole Calhoun getting a shot? He's hitting 288 in AAA, but, I mean, he's probably better than Willie Calhoun, who was utter garbage.
Calhoun actually hasn't been that terrible, to be honest. He hasn't been good, but I thought he would have been a lot worse. He's been better than Bowers.
But I can't stand both of them.
Yeah.
Calhoun's swing pisses me off because it's a complete uppercut. It's either like he hits it or he completely whiffs on it.
It's like here's what I'll compare it to with Bowers and Calhoun. And this kind of going to Rob's comment. I think he was talking about lefty bats and Yankee Stadium. The Yankees' answer for obviously he was talking about Higgy and all these the overabundance of righties we have had over the past few years is remember in 2021 when they trotted out Jay Bruce, Mike Tauchman, and Mike Ford as some of their lefty hitters.
God. And people really thought Mike Ford was going to be the next big thing.
I saw him pitch a strikeout against the Cleveland team. So, I mean, but no, all like one's retired, one's playing for another team, and the other one's probably like serving burgers at McDonald's or something. Tauchman is on the Cubs, probably not doing much, if anything. Rob letting Hicks go was huge for Cash, though the first time he admitted to a mistake, that was Cash firstborn crying out loud. Oh yeah. Josh Johnson come back to pimp pop-up out to center field and ground out to either shortstop or third base. Can't wait. I hate Cashman. Yeah, I mean, we share the despise. Rodon just had an interview with Meredith Marakovitz. He said he's with the team in Seattle and thinks he's going to throw to batters in the near future. I think I'm going to throw to batters in the near future.
I'm going to throw to batters in the That's what you want to hear from your $100 million pitcher.
I'll take the bullet. I'm
going to throw to some batters sometime in the near future. Oh, that's really optimistic.
I'll take his game check and I'll pitch 1 inning for the Yankees. I'll give up 20 runs. We'll lose the game. I'll be hated forever, but I'll get that game check.
Exactly.
You'll never hear from me again.
Hey, listen, if we split that into 4, we could go a full game. So Gary Sanchez right. Here's the thing though, Crackle Nuts, and this kind of dives into a point that it's been a Yankee talking point for a while, is that I thought Gary Sanchez absolutely fell off when Boone decided to become the manager, and the Yankees kind of shifted to a soft philosophy. But obviously, that's a dead duck argument.
It wasn't just Sanchez; the whole franchise did.
Yep. Let's see. I think we need a few batters and one more pitcher. Is Rob Brantley getting called up for the Blue Jays or no? Probably. I mean, Danny Jansen just got hurt, so maybe.
Rob Brantley.
Oh my God, not him.
Yeah, he was god awful. God awful. Speaking of best thing since sliced bread, Voit got DFA today, and also, by the way, just a little fun fact: Jamison Tyone has like an 8 ERA with the Cubs. I don't miss him. I don't. Let's go Miami. They're winning. Good teams could actually have young guys come up and hit well for a couple of weeks, months till the injured guys come back. The Yankees signed a bunch of 28-year-old veterans who were never that good. Well, they signed past their primes. Like Marwin was obviously past his prime when we had him last year. Donaldson, I hate it. Marwin is just, It's like,
what's crazy? I'm sorry.
You're good.
I was gonna say all the former Yankees that we had from last year that are on new teams, they haven't really been that good. Carpenter stinks for San Diego.
I know. I was never gung-ho on bringing him back.
Right. Benintendi's been okay, but he hasn't been $15 million worth. Joey Gallo's been the best former Yankee this year, and his numbers are very Gallo-esque. It's like, because Montgomery's been bad, Tyone's been bad. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. The Gallo, of all people, is the one who's actually if we would have had his bat right now hitting 7 or whatever home runs he has and hitting like 212, would be like, shit, better than like half of our lineup right now.
He's hitting 206, 11 home runs, 23 RBIs. And Benintendi, if to my knowledge, he has not hit a home run yet.
No, I don't think he has.
Quite interesting. But the White Sox are a complete dumpster fire. How is Chad Green doing? He's even playing? I don't think so. I don't think he's stepped on the field.
Tommy John, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I know they think he signed with Toronto for like a 2-year deal or something like that. But yeah, he's probably not going to pitch till September the latest if he does pitch.
Joe was tough on the guys. Boone is getting ice cream with them. Yep, he's being their best friend. Sessa's not on the team. I didn't like
Sessa sucks.
He does suck.
DFA'd.
Yep. Marwin is doing
you
decent.
Don't think about Aaron Boone getting thrown out basically every other day.
Well, I mean, he had the other. What was it?
Thursday
it was.
He had a point because he wasn't getting the consistent calls. But if you want me to be honest, I'm not a fan of Boone. I will never be a fan of Boone. I thought it was stupid how MLB suspended him and they continue to try out these asshole umpires. Like they said, his actions, suspended him. What actions was that? I mean, I don't know.
I think a little bit of spit went on the umpire because he was like,
of course, that's not intentional, but we'll find the MLB Umpires Association will find the smallest thing against the manager. But yet, if we complain about the calls, we're the assholes.
But I mean, further to more of Donald's question is like, I think the Yankee fans have to start to notice that even if Boone gets ejected 12 times a month, it's not going to do anything to fire up the team because Savages in the Box 2019, everybody got rah-rah'd by that. I mean, I'll admit I did. And then what was it? I think last year there was something else and everybody got rah-rah'd by it and really didn't improve too much. So, I mean, he gets ejected. That's on him. Fine, whatever. But I mean, I don't know.
Here's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
To be honest, it's a major league wide issue. It's not just a Yankee issue with balls and strikes, and it affects other teams just as much as it affects the Yankees. Now, I'm all for instance, defending Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge's strike zone is still indecipherable. There's no way that anyone can decipher what that strike zone is because it's just ridiculous at this point. It's been that way his entire career. So if Boone wants to fight umpires on that, then I get it. But it's a little bit like the boy who cried wolf, because at the end of the day, the more and more that you're going to continue to rag on umpires, the less that the umpires are actually going to pay any attention to you. And that's the truth, man, because he's going to get a reputation where he's just like, well, this is just what he does. So, like, what's going to make them change their ways? And at the end of the day, it's just kind of baseball, man. It's just like it depends on how a catcher frames balls, and there's always going to be different types of strike zones for different types of umpires. And I think that the more Aaron Boone complains, I think the less impact it has. I think he'd be far better off picking and choosing the moments in which he rips umpires. Wait till it's egregious. And there's been a couple of instances where it's egregious and he's done the right thing. But I felt like he's been thrown out a couple of times over this past week, and I'm now kind of numb to it. So God knows what the umpires are like. I'm just like, oh, well, he's getting thrown out again. Right? I mean, at this point, like, bro, like, I think you need to change it up a little bit. I really do. I think he needs another routine. So really, he needs to just wait and calm down a little bit, man, because it's a major league-wide issue. It's not a Yankee issue. So I'm getting a little bit tired of it. I think it almost feels like he's getting himself thrown out of games in order to avoid having to use a bullpen, which he can't do. So
Or manage.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because he can't manage a bullpen. So better just leave it to his bench coach. So, like, he was asked if he was going to amend his way after being suspended. He said no. And listen, I get it. It looks great, like, in terms of optics. Oh yeah, he's fighting for us. He defends our team. But I mean, what difference is it really making? It's not going to make the umpire fucking call a strike. It is. It just isn't. It just makes us look bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because this is a major weed issue, and every manager in baseball have to deal with shitty calls and shitty strike zones, and they just have to deal with it. That's just the way of the name of the game. It's just the way. And when you're in the minor leagues, you're told not to go after the umpires for balls and strikes. So it's okay for Aaron Boone to get thrown out more than Bobby Cox has. I've already looked at the statistics. He's actually on pace to get thrown out more than Bobby Cox was. And Bobby Cox broke the all-time record for freaking being thrown out. So, like, it is stupid at this point. It's ridiculous.
Makes you more vulnerable for the umpire.
Girardi did it a lot too, and I didn't even care when Girardi did it because I don't like Girardi. Right? I never really liked Joe Girardi. I thought he was overrated, and he did it. He argued better than anybody, I think. It didn't really make a difference. It's not like they said we got to go win this game for Joe. How many times has Boone been thrown out? And have you seen the players be like, "We got this now. We got you, Skip"? No, it doesn't work. And if anything, this tells me everybody who is begging for him to get fired, it's not going to change, because have the games been managed any differently without Aaron Boone out there? Mendoza does the exact same thing that Aaron Boone does. Because I got news for you: if Aaron Boone got fired tomorrow, Mendoza's going to take over for him until they found a replacement. And Mendoza is just Aaron Boone with a different name. So we even have coaches that look like Aaron Boone. You can't tell me that Wilkerson doesn't look like Aaron Boone and John C. Reilly put together. Tell me that's not like it's like they meshed two of them together. Like, we have people that look like Boone, they act like Boone. So if he got fired, it's gonna be the same thing. I forgot that he was suspended because I was going to say, Boone, you idiot. And I'm like, wait, he's not managing this game.
Exactly. That's true.
It's the same stuff. It's the same way. They have it scripted how this game's going to be managed.
No, you get a point.
Template. But I was going to say, like, not even, like, people for some reason were fired up about this last year. I didn't know why. When Aaron Boone did this, it's right in front of us. When he slammed the table, I'm like, you're so fake, bro. You're not playing anybody.
No, but I in contrast to Rob's opinion, which obviously we're allowed to disagree. I'm a big Joe Girardi fan, but I'm a bigger fan of Joe Girardi than most. Stan,
I'm a Girardi fan too, man. I do believe that we would have won the World Series in 2018 if we kept him.
Yeah. That was hilarious. That got people buying the Kool-Aid, meaning the slam on the table, because it's right in front of us.
Some people just believe anything.
Yeah, Jeff Nelson's doing the games with Michael K. Shouts to Sox. What's going on, Sox? He says, "Go Celtics."
Yo, Sox, could you tell the Celtics to start closing out the perimeter shooters? Because the Heat are shooting like 50% from three. It's ridiculous.
I think the Heat are winning.
You're also 4 of 21 from 3. How do you feel about that?
Yes. Let us
Throw
know.
that out there.
I don't think there's a possibility of this happening. He's not coming to the Knicks if he leaves the Lakers. I don't think he's retiring, even that. Gardner was hitting his bat on the roof of the dugout when the Savages in the box happened. Well, I mean, I like Gardy too, outside of all the Boone stuff and whatnot. Let's see. Boone slammed the table. Yes. Crazy thing was when they kept Marwin just because Ozzy kept Marwin on the rosters because Ozzy liked him. Marwin the automatic out. Maybe Gallo just needed to play first base. Maybe he wasn't. His bat was the issue, not his defense all the way. But of course, you got the former Yankee Gio Urshela, who's hitting 300 this year. Oh yeah, Gio Urshela's doing wonders. He's doing wonders. Donald got money on Boston tonight. I see. He has no pick.
I don't have a team. It affects my sensibilities when I don't see a team closing out perimeter shooters. That annoys the shit out of me.
I believe AAA. Go Heat. Fuck the Celtics. No offense. Heat will not miss. Ridiculous. Also, you cannot just show up and expect your threes to fall. Need some ball and body movement. However, they did shoot 7-36 from distance in Game 6 and won.
Yeah, that's the point. Luka has always said this. The Celtics' only game plan is to shoot threes. They don't actually have an offensive scheme.
Celtics offensive strategy: threes, and more threes. If they don't go down,
like literally one of the possessions I was just watching. This is obviously halftime now. Like they were just tossing the ball along the perimeter. Like Smart had the ball. He asked Horford his first screen, so he just passed to Derek White along the perimeter. The Miami Heat were like, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, Spoelstra is a very good coach. Is Dominguez getting a look this year? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how he's doing. I don't think so. I mean,
he's supposedly raking in AA.
He's stealing a lot of bases. He's drawing walks. His average is so-so. The power's been there. I think he'll be in AAA this year by the end of the season. But anyone thinking he's going to play left field this year, there has to be a major leap between now and July.
Yeah.
We're not the Angels where we're calling up last year's draft picks, which kind of boggles my mind. You throw the ball around the perimeter to break down a man defense. That shit isn't working against a good Heat zone. I think John lost the bet, y'all. Yeah, he's gonna have to get some Vegas Knights gear. But what up to Bad Take Brian in the chat? So to finish off on some positive notes for the Yankees before we move segments, I want to talk about these three players, and I'll start with Rob. Obviously, Aaron Judge. Do you think he's the best player in baseball as of right now? And then Anthony Rizzo and Harrison Bader as well.
Oh, my captain, he is the best player in baseball. There's no comparison for me. If there's anyone that I'd say it's second, it's Ohtani, just because he does both and does it so well. But Aaron Judge proving once again that if he was not a New York Yankee and Arson Judge did become a reality, we would be screwed. He puts his team on his back every single season. I don't want to hear about he's injury prone because he got hit on the wrist and he missed 10 games and he's still leading the American League in home runs. The guy is an absolute monster. If we didn't have him, everything that we saw in those 10 games without him would be magnified over a 162-game season. So I'm going to thank Hal Steinbrenner every single Yankee game for making that phone call at 3 a.m. to get Judge back, because we'd be lost without him. Rizzo, excellent. He's done everything that we needed him to do. His defense can be a little bit better, but he's still the best defensive first baseman we've had since Teixeira. And he's an absolute leader, and him and Judge are the best duo in baseball right now in terms of offensive numbers. And Bader, I'm actually starting to lean towards maybe extending him. If he keeps this up, his defense is superb. His bat clearly thrives in Yankee Stadium, and he's an energetic guy that we need. We need that kind of a presence. Donald brought this up on Pinstripe Chronicles. Like, we need that. We absolutely need that on this team because we saw before he came back, there was just no life in this dugout. And then he brought some energy and he was having fun out there. He was jumping around, leaping around like Superman, making these catches, hitting home run after home run. You couldn't get him out for a whole week. And since May 2nd, I think we're like 17-8 since he's come back. So he's been a spark. And who would have thought? Because he was an average bat to most people. And he's been outstanding. So I'm leaning towards extending him. But, of course, we got to see how the season ends for him.
Yeah, definitely agree on a lot of those points. Luca.
No, I think Bader's been one of the best. So is Rizzo. Rizzo's been my guy. Judge, I think, is still top at the top. The thing about Bader is he actually has a qualifying offer after the season, but I do prefer, as long as he can stay healthy, an extension because you don't want to play hanging loose with him where you're extending him or you're not extending him. Just be straightforward with him. And he's definitely somebody to build around.
I would give him maybe a Benintendi type deal, 5 years, 75. I think that's fair. Nothing in the 10s or anything like that because he's not that type of player. Let's see what else. Ohtani's the best player in baseball because he shows on the big stages and Judge doesn't. Well, Ohtani hasn't made the playoffs, so I can't
exactly.
Really
Ohtani hasn't exactly made the playoffs.
I'm not defending Judge's absence in the playoffs, but also like Ohtani and Trout alone haven't gotten their team to, the playoffs. So I can't say that, to be honest. I'll still sign with my guy Aaron Judge. Would you sign Alonso if the Mets don't re-sign him? I think they'll re-sign him, and I don't think the Yankees touch him, obviously, because it got Rizzo. And then after that, probably Murakami or wherever you want to go. Alex, you better buckle up for After Dark tomorrow night. Yep, I'll be on Game Season tomorrow. Matt says hold off on the Bader extension. Could be Hicks 2.0. Plus, he's been very bad the last 15 games.
Couldn't disagree more. That is a huge, huge reach.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is you can't really be scared of signing players and then, boom, they go somewhere else and they're, like, very good. And you're like, shit, I should have signed them. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I just don't think he's I don't think he's Aaron Hicks in the making.
Criticize. I'm sorry to interrupt, Alex. You can't criticize for a team doing something like that, and then you suggesting that same thing, like you just mentioned, Alex. You can't be afraid of signing Harrison Bader. You can't be afraid of signing Harrison Bader when he becomes shit, but you don't want to let him go so he doesn't go elsewhere and succeed. But you can't follow up on the same principle. You got to stick on one side.
Yeah. Before I get to Donald real quick, I just want to promote this. Playback TV, guys. If you haven't already, go over there and become a member of Playback TV. It's free. We have our own room. It's kind of like Discord, but it's not. But we'll be doing some live streams on there. We'll actually be able to show the games on the live streams. So if you guys want to watch it in sync with us, join Playback. I think we'll be doing our first stream maybe Sunday because it's a nationally televised game. That is the Yankees and the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball. So just become a member. We could chat together and all that sort of stuff. Tudo, what's up? He says, massive salutes and respect to Alex, Donnie, Robbie, and Luca, all diehard Giant fans in America. Greetings from Italy. Ciao Paisano.
My guy.
I would sign Bader and give Jason Dominguez in left field if he's ready next year. I would think left field's like a suitable thing for Dominguez. As I said, I don't think he's got the range to play center. Volcanic, hot type take, Matt. But to be fair, both have been absent in the playoffs. Well, I mean, Trout and Ohtani haven't even physically been in the playoffs, so there's that. Bader would be Hicks all over again if he gets hurt and they sign him a big deal. I don't think a big deal is what they're going to sign him to, if they sign him, of course. Tudo is everywhere. But Donald, your thoughts on Bader, Judge, and Rizzo?
Okay, Judge, best player in baseball. Like, I don't think it's close. I do want to give credit to Pete Alonso this year, though, for the start he's had with the 20 home runs he's had this year. It's a crazy streak he's on, but he's batting 220. Aaron Judge continues to bat almost 300 every single year, plus have he has 15 home runs now this year, plus the 62 last year. So I don't think it's a question, really. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Plus, he's one of the best outfielders in the game. So, I'm sorry, man. Ohtani, give me a break. Like, he's a good power hitter. solid pitcher, but I mean, I don't really know what Ohtani's done in the big spot that Aaron Judge hasn't done. Aaron Judge, it got us to an ALCS, won us the division. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge, that Yankee team probably finishes 10 games below 500 last year. They're definitely going to be 10 games below 500 this year without Aaron Judge. I think he is that type of player. You just see what this Yankee team is like without him. Completely useless, completely incompetent. So, I know Judge hasn't had a good playoffs. I'm giving him a mulligan because 62 all by himself and carrying a team by himself all the way through the year obviously did a number on him and exhausted him. And I don't think he was the same player in the playoffs. Plus, there wasn't that much around him, let's be honest, as well. So I'm giving him a mulligan for last year. The other years, you can certainly pinpoint that he needs to be better in October. That's what I'm expecting this year. He needs to be better. I do get that, but at the moment, he's the best player in baseball, and I don't think it's close. As for Bader, I was on the fence for extending him too soon until now, and I'm very much like, just get it done, because the Yankees, they don't want to be in a position where they need to answer left field and center field next year. Bader, they got their center fielder. Bader is a phenomenal center fielder. He saves runs every single game. He saves runs with his range. It's absolutely insane. Obviously, that error aside, was ridiculous. But other than that, man, he has played perfect center field, and the most ridiculous range. He saves a bunch of runs there, so he's been great. And offensively, he's been so much better than any of us could have wished for. Plus, he's that lightning spark that we've been needing, that energy, that, you see that he's got a rapport with Judge. The two of them have a really cool thing going together with a shake thing, whatever it is. Hey, it works for them. It's fun. It certainly adds energy. Bader adds a ton of energy. Plus, he's been clutch. I'm not quite sure what that means that he's been bad over the last 15, 20 games. I mean, he's had some clutch hits, and he's played incredible defense for 99% of it. So I think Bader's had a great year since coming back from injury, and he's one of the big reasons why this Yankee team is competing night in, night out. Without Bader, forget about it. I actually do think extending him. I think if they extended him on the Sooner side, you probably get him on a discount. If you wait till the end of, if you wait until free agency and you're competing with other teams, you're gonna have to maybe pay more than you maybe be willing to. So, but this is a Brian Cashman thing where you only extend people once they hit free agency. But I don't know why you do that, man, because you're kind of bidding against other teams, and the Yankees aren't the Yankees anymore, where they just can walk in and go, I'm going to want to sign you, and that's it. Now there's a ton of teams that can compete with you. I would actually look to make a give it to the All-Star break, and if he continues to be as good as he has been, I would try and get him on a 4-year deal or something like that. And I'm not worried about this Aaron Hicks thing. I mean, in my opinion, he's already done more than Aaron Hicks has. He's provided energy, great defense, and power, and he had a lot to do with us even making the playoffs last year after the All-Star break. So, I like him a lot. And Rizzo, he's been Judge's sidekick this year. So I don't have any issue with Anthony Rizzo at all. He's played healthy. He's played good defense, and he's been a power bat. His numbers have been excellent this year. I think he's probably an all-star this year, actually. So, I mean, those three guys are basically carrying this entire team offensively. Those three guys and no one else.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to a few comments before we do final out our Yankee segment. Don's Twitter byline doesn't have befuddled Yankification, and thereby tonight we riot. Bill having the fun. Yes, Nimmer, and I want to relate this because I know Tudo just asked. So, obviously, I know you're a regular in the Big Blue Crew streams. Our buddy Jeff, if you don't know, Jeffrey Turner / Jeffy NYG Jeffy T3285, unfortunately passed away within the past 24 hours. I think they said blood clots or blood blisters. Unfortunately, was the reason for that. So that's why I'm doing the
blood blisters.
I have no idea. I know probably after this stream, I know the Big Blue Crew is hosting a little thing for him, so I'm gonna pop on there. But once again, after our show, who's older? I am. Willie Calhoun, 2-out double first inning. Aaron Judge didn't bring us the CS. Bader and Rizzo did. How big of a star he is. He is the worst playoff hitter I've ever seen. I saw A-Rod's playoff career. Surprised Luka's not wearing any hat today, boss.
I mean, can I really do. Am I this guy that says, turn things into a positive? But why are we talking about Aaron Judge's playoff history now? This isn't the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
it seems like Matt's just trying to
playoff team without him, so we can't even just talk about the playoffs.
He's had a couple of good playoff series. Like, we probably don't beat Oakland in that wild card game a few years ago without Judge.
Grand Slam.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, he hit the 2-run bomb. Yeah,
like
in the first inning. So yeah.
Could the numbers be better? Absolutely, but like no one's saying that he's been out. Like he hasn't been bad in the playoffs. Yeah, he's had some rough playoff years, but like no one cared about A-Rod's failures when he had that one good. All it takes is one good postseason. Like let's just say, for example, if this year, let's say we go on a run and we win the World Series, and Aaron Judge has an A-Rod-esque postseason, no one's gonna give a damn about last year and the year before and the year before. Oh, he didn't do it those years. Because if he does it this year, or if it's next year, or whenever it is that we finally get one with Aaron, we better win one with Judge. But if he has that one good postseason, no one's going to care because guess what? Most of us have forgiven A-Rod for all of his playoff failures because he got us that one.
Yep.
And while I think Matsui was the reason we ended up winning it, we can't deny that A-Rod, if without A-Rod, we don't get there. So
great point.
Just wait till it happens because it's going to happen. I think we're going to be better. Again, we have to with Aaron Judge in his prime, but all it takes is one. And doing it right now, like I don't know. I just feel like you're trying to start something with that, Matt. Like last year, like Donald said, he put us on his back. If you don't think 62 took something out of him, look at the numbers through August, how bad that month was. Aaron Judge was the offense. They had to bat him first because teams didn't want to pitch to him. They said, we will put you on first. You're Barry Bonds now. We will pitch to anybody else because we're not afraid of them. We are afraid of you. And we couldn't score. We had to bat him first because of that. If not for Aaron Judge, this team would have but not made the playoffs last year. And that's after an amazing first half of the season. Just put that into perspective.
Yeah. Just look at what he did in that Toronto series just last week. If you want any question as to who the best player in baseball is. It looks like he was competing with himself as to how far he could hit that ball every game.
Personal battle.
Yeah.
Since that hot week, Bader's hitting 167. That's why I'm holding off on the extension now because if then you resign him and he can't hit water. I mean, I understand like that a little of the sense because Brian Cashman doesn't really like to amend his mistakes and all that, but what are you doing in center field if you don't have Bader? I mean, you're going to rely on Spencer Jones?
You need a backup plan.
Yeah, you need some.
But it's not cherry picking, man, because prior to him batting 167, he's batting over 300.
That's true. No, I agree with you. It's just like if you're not gonna sign Bader, if he's not gonna pick up his qualifying offer, you need a plan.
They don't have one because Dominguez is not probably not a center fielder, and Spencer Jones isn't either, and he's not ready yet. Spencer Jones has been really struggling lately, and he's playing in high A right now. He's been striking out a ton, so he's still got a little ways to go. Let's just say if we let Bader walk, who's our center fielder? Because we still don't have a left fielder. You're going to put Judge out there, okay? Who's our right fielder? They don't want to play Stanton in the outfield. They're afraid of it. I think we might have to extend Bader, even if it's for a 3-4 year deal. If he'll take that, I don't know. But they have to at least entertain the idea because Dominguez isn't there. Pereira might be an option next year, but I feel like he could get dealt in a trade. But yeah, they right now the only options are kids or Esteban Florial, who they clearly don't want to use, or else they would have called him up by now.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I looked at his average. Bader's hitting 250. He's always been around that 250 range, but he's known for his speed. He's known for his defense. He'll give you a solid bat, but it's defense and the speed. That's what he gives you. It's not much about hitting 150 in the last however many games. If he hits 250 and above, that's not a problem for me because that's who he is at the end of the day. It's a solid
outfielder. He didn't come here to be an offensive star. It was his defense that we traded for him, and his defense has been incredible.
And if you like, Matt talks all about. I'm just being fair here. Matt talks about the contact. We need contact guys. Well, Bader's a contact guy. He's in 250. He's not a power hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot, at least in my, what I've seen from him.
And you know what Bader said? I play here for free. That's what he said. That's the kind of player you want to be playing for the Yankees. That's the kind of guys you want. You want guys that absolutely love wearing the pinstripes because it means more to them. He's a seamless fit with the Yankees. He really is. He's kind of like Josh Hart with the Knicks. It's just like him coming in has added an energy and some fundamentals and some IQ that the Yankees just didn't have. I don't see how there's any debate here. I think he needs to come back. I think he's been great. He's a Yankee fan. He loves the Yankees. You need more players like that. You really do.
Right. I agree. Crackle says,
I want to pick up on Matt's point here about Aaron Judge. Oh, as soon as he hit the playoffs, he forgot
I just don't even know why.
Ross already went into it, man. They didn't respect anybody else on the roster. So how many pitches was Judge going to get to hit in the playoffs? He didn't get many pitches to hit because they didn't respect anyone else on the roster. They were going to pitch around him. That's what they did. That's why they had to bat him like first and stuff like that. Some crazy ideas to do that just to try and generate something. But, I mean, there's a cause and effect to all of this. That's why the biggest issue is never Judge in the playoffs. It's getting him help. And the Yankees didn't get him any help this offseason. And now we're scrambling.
Yeah. And even if you want to compare it to A-Rod, because I know Matt did that earlier, look at who A-Rod had around him in those years he was struggling in the playoffs. He had
Swisher, Posada, Teixeira, Jeter.
Not even 09. I'm talking about like 04, 05. He had Sheffield. He had Jeter. He had Matsui. He had Giambi. Like he had some freaking killers in that lineup.
2011, Curtis Granderson.
Right. And if not for that 1 year, A-Rod, we're talking about A-Rod as a colossal failure, but nobody cares anymore because he got us that one ring. So, and if you again look at 04, how bad was he in 04? And look at our 04 lineup. That was scary. 05, 06. A-Rod was bad all of those years up until 09. And he had a really good lineup every single year, except for because we didn't make the playoffs. But it was a much scarier lineup that A-Rod had with him than what Judge had in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And every year.
Yeah, pretty much.
What was Judge's protection last year?
Yeah,
injured Stanton, an injured LeMahieu.
Josh Donaldson.
And Josh Donaldson, who's a joke.
What month are we in? We're at the end of May. So, again, you guys are discussing this, which is fine, but I just don't see why we have to bring up Judge in the playoffs. We're talking about, Bader and whatever.
They actually
We're in the regular season
bases, by the way. I thought I'd update you guys on that, meaning Bader. But I'm going to just put a pin in this conversation, and we could release it later like a grenade if we need to, but I don't think there's a need. I'm going to send it around for final thoughts on this Yankee subject because I think this is the biggest deep dive we've done in the Yankees in a while. But anyway, I'll start with Donald. Best hitter, best pitcher, either from the past week or the past series against the Padres.
That's a tough one. I'd probably give it to Rizzo.
Okay.
To be a little bit different because I've given Judge the awards all the time previously. Rizzo deserves a shout out. He's been the most consistent all year long, so I think he deserves that award. Pitching, I've liked what Severino's done. He's pitched really well. since coming back. The Yankees haven't given him any help. But it's really been the story of the bullpen. I think Wandy and Mike King have just been terrific out of the bullpen. And so, any of those three, I think you could probably give it to. But I'm going to give it to Mike King again because he's so important to the way the Yankees need innings out of their bullpen. He continues to give you great innings, so probably give him that award.
Hey.
And I'm going to give Bader the defense award.
Sunil Sebi is pitching for a contract if someone else is likely to render him, not us. That means probably tender or same thing. Sevi fully built up. How many did he pitch on Saturday? How many innings did he pitch? I know he's probably talking about
6
pitchers.
2/3 because I referenced earlier how he was 1 out away from possibly getting out of the inning, and then Gleyber Torres had that error. So 6 2/3.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty.
Somebody for his second start back from injury, that's not bad at all. He had a very good pitch count up until then.
And as for Sunil's comment before I tossed it around to Luca for the award segment, I don't think the Yankees really have a choice because all of our starting pitchers are crap that come from the system. I mean, Brito's okay. Schmidt's not good. Luca?
And I was a big Schmidt guy. But anyways, best pitcher, I would say Severino possibly. Over the past 2 weeks, he's looking his first 2 starts coming back from injury. Best hitter, I'd probably say the most consistent is Rizzo. Rizzo is still raking with a 300 average. I am impressed because I usually don't think of Rizzo as a 300 hitter, but let's keep it that way. And is he potentially, I know we're saying this a little early, is he potentially an all-star candidate for the Yankees?
I think he is. There's not many.
You're right about
Him
that.
and Judge, in my opinion.
Rob, best hitter, best
Oh,
pitcher.
that's about it.
It's like for the best hitter, it's either Judge or Rizzo. They were both really good all series. I'm gonna go with Judge. That felt like his home run yesterday kind of jump started everything. But I could probably just flip a coin, and to me that'd be the right choice, Judge or Rizzo. I'm going with Sevi for the best pitcher. It's so good to see him pitching well. I hate the fact that he could end up being a what if for this team because if he never had to deal with those injuries, we're talking about arguably the best pitcher the Yankees have developed since Pettit. That's how good he was looking when he first got called up. 2017, 2018, there weren't many in the game that were better than him. And then he got hurt, and we didn't really see him for 3 seasons. And the thing with him is, like, whenever he's on the field, he's good. You know what you're getting. You're getting a good pitcher. It's just he hasn't been on the field enough. So if he can stay healthy the rest of the year, I think he could get that qualifying offer like Martin Perez took last year with Texas. He could be a candidate for a 1 year, stay healthy, and then get the big day. Because if he was healthy his whole career, he's getting Rodon, maybe even more type money. That's how good he was, man. Like I love Severino. I followed him since we signed him. When we called him up in 2015, I was like jumping in excitement. And it's just a shame that his career could be a what-if story. I'm hoping that this year he can just stay healthy and we can maybe get him for one more season and hope he just breaks out again next year.
Yeah. Cole, Judge, Rizzo, maybe King or Wandy can. What, in terms of all-star maybe or something along those lines? Let's see. Rob depends on if his agent is a Boris guy or, for example, he won't take it because Boris obviously never lets his clients take the qualifying offer. So, yeah, as I said, I don't think the Yankees are in a choice. I mean, I think it was 2 Fridays ago we were talking. We had a little, of course, house party for John because he was graduating. We were literally looking at free agents and it was mostly pitching, but I don't think the Yankees are in a position to let Sevy walk because they can't really develop starters. Again, Brito's okay, but Rodon necessarily hasn't panned out. Garrett Cole is still here. So it's quite interesting. You see Sevy's in this kind of same spot as Bader. Even if he plays well, he never stays healthy, and you saw the same issues. And again, it's just if the Yankees had more options, I'd say, okay, maybe let Sevy walk, but I don't think that there's a lot of options in that. So, Mike is okay. Now it's good. Thing is, one of the other can't It's Spader and Sevy with the qualifying offer. Yeah, you are right on that. Any final notes on the Yankee subject? As Luca dips.
Higashioka struck out looking, and Cabrera grounded out to Strand Bowers at second.
Another day in the Yankee life. I think that's a way to summarize it, right? Something along those lines. But I think there was one more question, at least for Luca. Luca, are you wearing a Gary Sanchez shirt?
You know what? I'm going to piss off the entire Yankees panel because a good buddy of mine, his dad got me the shirt. It is a 24 ever shirt sponsored by the Mariners. Ken Griffey.
So I can't fault it. It's Ken Griffey, you know.
Of course. Because I had thought people were going to say, you're a traitor. What are you rooting for the Mariners?
Well, the chat might say that, but also
one of the greatest outfielders of the past generation, somebody who never won a championship, Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, I mean, you also have to factor in as well. I would be okay with that a little bit more if we were not facing the Mariners. But
I kind of did it on purpose.
Well, okay. Miami up 9-120 to go. Okay, Alex, I think that is a banishable offense. Well, I'll keep him on because he's leading our next segment. So, Luca, if you want to twist to some playoff talk, or do you want to go into that surprise segment? I'll lead it up to you.
Well, we'll leave. Just 1 second. I'm just checking something on the iPad right here. I'll leave because recently Nick Nurse and Adrian Griffin were just recently hired coaches. We'll get to that later, but today, since the playoffs haven't officially, made it to the finals yet, we are bringing back the 2023 version, NBA draft version of Prospect of the Week. We got 2 prospects to do this week, so I'm going to bring up the first one. Let me just get up my video file here. 1 second. Here we go. So, the first one is Taylor Hendricks. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2023 edition of the NBA Prospect of the Week. Weeks leading up to the draft, we'll be looking at some of the best prospects in this upcoming draft, ranging from 1 to 3 prospects per week. 2 this week. Our first candidate is UCF power forward Taylor Hendricks. Hendricks stands at 6'9" and weighs in at 215 pounds with a wingspan of 7'0". He played in 34 games last season with the Knights and averaged 15 points per game with 7 rebounds and 1.4 assists, while shooting 47% from the field and 39% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. So I have this all listed out. So we're going to look first at his defensive impact. That's going to be the first couple of the first minute or 2, should I say. But I will say this. One of Hendricks' better traits on the court is his impact and versatility on defense. He can switch into pick and roll and guard positions 1 through 5. It also helps that Hendricks has great awareness and IQ. He averaged nearly 2 blocks per game last season, due in part to him getting a good chunk of minutes as a small ball 5 and his overall length. His mobility also allows him to make it tough on driving guards just trying to get a shot off. So for about the next minute, we're going to look at his defensive impact. Let's watch. He is number 25, by the way. He usually plays close to the basket. Here we go, number 25.
Ooh.
Weak side block.
Oh. I love his wiry frame.
Weak side again.
It's like Jonathan Isaac defense.
That's what people are comparing him to. Here we go, coming off the weak side again. Good contest. Always keeping his hands vertical. He's going to take the one-on-one matchup. Difficult shot. Blocked. We're going to do a pick and roll here. He's going to switch. He's going to prevent the big man from being seen, which allows the shooter, the rim driver, to go up for the shot, but it's going to be denied.
Hey.
Great awareness, great vision from Hendricks. Hendricks over here. Block shot from behind. Hendricks against wingman. Difficult shot, missed. Here we go again, along the wing. Difficult shot, no good. Another wingman, keeping his feet vertical. Tough mid-range shot forced, no good. Difficult mid-range shot forced and blocked. Driving at the basket, another block.
Rob blocks everything.
Driving to the rack, keeping his feet vertical. Trying to post him up. Difficult contest. Hendricks again. Just rips the ball right out of him. Hendricks at the top. Forces the steal. Hendricks once again along the perimeter. Contested step back three. Again, switching on the guard. No shot. Once again on the guard. Tough mid-range shot. It's like they always, all these drivers and all these guards have to settle for these mid-range jumpers because they just can never get past Hendricks. But I believe it's time to go into the next thing that he's very successful at, and that is his athleticism. What if Hendricks better? I should say another aspect of what makes Hendricks so good is his athleticism. This specific trait allows the 6'9" forward to run in transition, which eventually leads to some explosive dunks. He also shows some elite burst, which can boost his play on the pick and roll. His explosiveness allows for second chance opportunities to crash the glass offensively. Let's look at him again.
Oh.
Here we go. Comes off the weak side.
Nice.
In transition again.
Oh, shit.
Open inside for the dunk. Running in transition. Alley-oop pass. Only 6'9", folks. And playing center minutes at UCF. Transition again.
Oh, Jesus.
Shot's no good. Watch this putback. Coming from the weak side, comes in for the putback. All alone. Nobody can contest. Here we go. We're going to see him a little bit off the dribble.
Damn. He's even got a little bit of game off the dribble.
Drives right to the basket.
You can drive and finish.
And now we're going to go into his staple of his game. It's not, well, the defense is part of his game, but it's a part of what he's projected at the next level. Another staple of which Hendricks' game should translate to the next level is his shooting. Previously, I referenced that Hendricks shot nearly 40% from three on just 4 attempts per game last season. Last season off the catch and shoot, he shot 39%. Hendricks has also shown flashes of ability to score off the dribble and can show the ability to get extra lift on his shot on defenders with very tight closeouts. I like his form, must I say. Just wait for this pick clip. Number 25. Tight closeout. High arcing shot. Corner shot. Loves the corners.
He's got a much better shot form than RJ Barrett.
Out to the corners. Tight contest. Extra lift on a shot. That's what I love. The extra release on his shot. It's quick. Gets enough lift. Out to the corners again. Knocks down the three-pointer.
Quite a quick release. It doesn't take him long to get him out.
Out to the corner. Again, it's so impressive he shot about 39%. But moving to his weaknesses, I previously mentioned that Hendricks had showed some ability to shoot off the bounce, but the reason I say that is because he possesses somewhat loose handles. He can drive to the basket with explosiveness, but what will Hendricks do if he's tightly guarded while driving? It's not the worst part of his game by any stretch of the imagination, but could definitely be improved upon. Hendricks only shot 33% off the dribble last season. Obviously loose handle, but watch this sick move. Let me pull this back a little bit. Watch this sick move, despite what I just said. Loses the handle. Nope. Backhand.
Whoa!
Hendricks. Step back.
Nice quick step, too.
Hendricks on the drive can pull up for somewhat in the mid-range, so there is some
This is his
limited
weakness.
creation. It's not too bad.
This is his weakness.
It's been
Jesus
listen.
Christ.
You'll
This
see
guy's
more of them,
unbelievable.
but you'll see more of them. But it's not a major weakness, should I say, Donald? It's not a major weakness.
No, I ain't seen too many weaknesses at all.
Pull up from the mid-range. Here you go, Hendricks turnaround jumper. Here we go. I think this is it. Hendricks double team, loses the ball. Another thing that I should mention, he can't finish at the basket that great. He only converted 44% of his layups at the basket because he struggled with more physical defenders in the interior and is not great using the opposite hand. He's also somewhat inconsistent with the shooting because of his base and lower body mechanics. Now we're going to watch some of his finishing at the basket. Wide open dunk, but he misses. And he misses not once but twice. Inside, misses that finish as well. Contested again. Shot's no good. Kind of struggles with contact, but that could be obviously improved upon. High arcing righty layup, no good. Not great at using his offhand, I will say. Goes to his right, misses. Gives out to Hendricks. Hendricks driving. Faces too many contact. Not a great possession there. Driving again. Not great there. Gives out to Hendricks. He's going to go with his right hand instead of his left on this lefty lay, or what should be a lefty lay. Transition. Hendricks misses the easy one, or at least could have passed to his teammate there. Hendricks, once again, trying to finish through contact. Not so good. Going to the basket. Misses again.
Okay.
Misses with the very stiff when he sees the contact. Like to see him definitely improve upon. Again, this is him going left, but using his right, which should not happen. Definitely needs work. But another thing, loose handles, we're going to see that right now. Slippery. Not exactly the most possessive trait you want. Hendricks. But he can pull up from the mid-range somewhat as he misses there. The overall creation we're seeing. So that is that. I will say this. Overall, I love Hendricks' upside as a versatile defender, as an overall athlete. He poses great awareness on both sides of the ball and can space the floor for any team which needs it. What can ultimately decide his ceiling and floor is the creation off the dribble aspect, which can be made better in part to his finishing at the basket with both hands and handles. I see Hendricks as a late lottery pick, early teens pick. I see him a fit for teams like the Dallas Mavericks and the Portland Trailblazers. Donald mentioned Jonathan Isaac. I see him like a Jaden McDaniels type with a little more size as a forward rather than a wing. So, chat, you could free up to offer your thoughts. But, Donald, what were your thoughts on Taylor Hendricks?
I was kind of blown away. Hendricks, you are a New York Knicks. The Knicks need to trade up and get this guy, in my opinion. I think it would really, really help this team because Obi Toppin's gone. Yeah. Julius Randle, I think he's going to stay, but I don't know about his long-term future. This is the ideal opportunity to have a power forward that can learn under him. I'd also like to see that kind of rim protection that he offers. He offers great rim protection. He's like Jonathan Isaac with a three-point shot, like just the way he plays, right. Like his athleticism, his defense, and his rim protection, and his know-how. I like all of that stuff. His putback dunks are like that a lot, and he's got a three-point shot. It looks like his offensive game's actually further on than Obi Toppin's was. So, you know, there's a lot to like here, man. And obviously the inside finishing is the only thing that gives me massive hesitation there. That's the only weakness that I can see is finishing inside. And that's kind of what you need from a four. But if you can bulk up a little bit and some good coaching, the Knicks have some really good coaching in terms of coaching forwards. Development. Yeah, they can really, really coach forwards. I think the Knicks actually would be ideal for him. Really ideal scenario for him. I think it's Tibbs loves his defensive guys. He loves his rim protectors. and he wants somebody that can stretch the floor. You have that. In my opinion, trade for him. Get him in, top 15? Get him trade up into the 15?
That's where he's going to be.
Get him.
But I will also mention that a lot of Knicks fans, prior to the draft lottery, which obviously revealed that Dallas won the number 10 pick, which the Knicks would not get their pick in this draft in the first round. A lot of Knicks fans did clamor for him, like Taylor Hendricks. I'm like, let me look at this guy. I'm like, oh, this guy's not half bad. And Jacob brings up a really good point. He was a one and done. He was a freshman, only year at UCF. So to show that type of progress as a freshman was like really good. So definitely, if the Knicks are looking for a backup power forward to start, I definitely would target Hendricks because Hendricks is a much better defender than Obi Toppin. His offensive game, as you said, Donald, is much further along. The handles part, I'm not really concerned because he's not going to be creating much. But the creation part, I would like to see a little bit more, especially with the finishing aspect. So I do think it's going to be interesting. But whatever team gets him, I think they're going to have a very good player in Taylor Hendricks. Now, let me move up to my next prospect here, as Alex has completely gone MIA. But anyways, Jacob's going to love this one because he's been.
Rob, what did you think? What did you think of what you saw?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Good defense. I think he's a really good fit for the Knicks. Yes, because I think Thibodeau can coach him up really well. I'll go on my side and be from a Nets perspective. We can use some defense too. We can definitely use some defense,
yes.
But we also need a lot more than that. So I think he's actually a really, really good fit for the Knicks. Just judging by how they played in the postseason, they could use something like that, especially protecting the inside. And considering he'd be, kind of a project a little bit since he was a freshman, but if going with Thibodeau would be a pretty darn good scenario for him. I think he'd be a perfect fit.
Totally agree.
Yes, Sunil, I am seeing that the Heat are up with about 8:33 to go. But
by the way, Judge hit a 2-run home run.
I did see that in the chat. Thank you, Rob. But what about, let's just say I'm a draft scenario here. Let's say the Nets let Cam Johnson walk in the free agency. I don't think it'll happen. Would you have this guy be your starting power forward next to Nick Claxton, Rob?
I would probably say so. I just don't know what they're going to do with Claxton. I feel like they could look to move him. If the rumors about them going after Dame are even remotely true, it's going to take a lot to get him. I don't want to get rid of Claxton, but to get Lillard, it would take him plus a lot more. So they might have to find a way to replace him. However, it would take first-round picks as well. So if we don't go for a big trade, I would take him for sure. But there was also talks that maybe the Nets could do that with Simmons and Claxton on the court at the same time. But although Ben Simmons never saw the court, that's a whole other story. I could see it. I just don't know if the Nets have the coaching staff in place to kind of groom him into a good player, overall good player.
Right. I mean, I've seen, Rob, I'm going to ask you this about real quick before we move on to our next prospect. I've seen Siakam mocked to the Nets a lot. What do you think about that?
This offseason has the potential to be really interesting for Brooklyn or just an absolute dud. Like they could go with just sticking with Bridges, which I love. And maybe they re-sign Cam Johnson, which would be fine. But I wouldn't expect them to do much next year at all. If they can find a way to get Siakam and Damian Lillard somehow, it would kind of feel like here we go again with the expectations. And I don't know how to feel about that because I like Jacques Vaughn, but I don't know if he's the guy to bring this team where it would want to go. And I will say this real quick. Had they never broken off Durant and Kyrie this year, I think the Nets would have had a chance to take the East.
That's an interesting point there. I think they got to keep building through the kids. They have all these draft picks and these assets from the KD trades. So just keep building off the path yet. I don't think you need to. Because we already saw what the outcome of that was. But our next prospect, which Jacob is going to absolutely love, he's been clamoring. He's been telling me in the chat, check out this guy, check this guy out, check this guy out. And I love this guy. I think he's going to be a fit for Rob's team best, or if the Knicks decide to trade up. This player is Jordan Hawkins, the second prospect on our list, shooting guard out of UConn. Standing at 6'5", he weighs in at about 186 pounds, which is a little light for his frame, and contains a wingspan of 6'7". Last season for the Huskies, he averaged 16 points per game on 40% shooting, 38% from downtown on 7.6 attempts per game. Also had 3.8 rebounds and 1.3 assists. So with that, let's move into his first biggest strength, and which makes it his overall game. His shooting. What makes Hawkins stand out as a prospect is the lights-out shooting. He's not only a great shooter, but a great cutter that can get to his spots with ease, especially in transition. Hawkins shot nearly 50% on open looks and 41% on catch-and-shoot threes. He also has elite mechanics featuring a quick release on his jumper. On his contested jumpers, Hawkins squares to the basket well, and his release off the ground is amazing. Let's get a taste of UConn guard Jordan Hawkins. Number 24.
Wow.
Quick
Oh my
release.
God. That's like Steph Curry. Quick release.
Open. Nearly 50% in open threes. Amazing.
His quick release and form from the perimeter does remind me of a young Steph Curry when he just first broke in the league.
Always good for transition threes. Gets to his spot.
Oh, I like that. An off-ball, off-ball movement right there.
Let me also add, he was able, and to Donald's point, he was able to excel in a really creative offense, which featured lots of movement. Loved him on the pin downs, loved him on the curls, as you guys have been seeing. He poses great awareness when being trailed as well, swiftly going to the basket. He's also great at creating defensive attention, which we'll see in about a minute, leaving big men wide open to the basket. Always great at finding his spots, which we'll see.
Wow. This movement off ball is great.
Great fit for the modern offense.
The Warriors would love him.
They would. Comes off the screen, knocks down the three. It's like some of those times when he's shooting, he's not even fully squared to the basket and he knocks it down. That's how good, That's how legit his mechanics are.
That's why it reminds me of Steph Curry.
Now we're going to see some of his off the dribble stuff, a little bit. Off the screen, he's going to get to the mid range and jam it down.
Ooh, he's got a jam.
Good finish there. Off the screen again, being trailed, notices, fires and hits. Here we go, mid range again. Double fake, got it. Great offensive awareness, as I will add again. Trailing, driving right to the basket using the left hand. She's going to drag two defenders and we'll have the open man. I will play that again. Here we go, St. John's versus UConn. He's not going to drag one, but two defenders, leaving the open man for the dunk. We're going to see this multiple times. 2-man, pass, inside, finish. Wide open man. We're going right up the middle, which leaves them open. Causes confusion, which the roll man leaves wide open in the corner. Hawkins is going to be right here. Let's see where he causes confusion. He's going to go up. Open again. Hawkins here. Wide open. Now we're going to see him defensively. As a defender, has a nice feel for the game, knows where to rotate and always plays hard. He's always good at throwing up blocks on the weak side, always keeping his hips moving and is tough to break away. As we see a block there, number 24, I will remind. Good contest.
Wow.
Tough contested in the mid-range. Always keeping those feet moving. 24 again. Staying with him.
He's terrific, isn't he?
Going to his right. No good mid-range. Rotating. Always forcing a tough contest. Now, we got to move on here. At the next level, despite having a knockdown jumper, Hawkins will have to create shots for himself. He was a huge beneficiary of Dan Hurley's movement motion offense, which is not a bad thing, but I do feel that it is the biggest swing factor in his game. He shot 32.7% off the dribble shots, 34% on off the dribble twos, and 31% on off dribble threes. Hawkins will pull out the occasional step back three or the one or two pull up jumper, but more creation will raise his ceiling. So we're going to see some of the issues with the lack of creation here. Just going to pull it back. Undecided. Good defense, but he's going to pull it back once again. Doesn't really have much of a bag off the creation, as I said. Kind of has trouble breaking down guys off the dribble. There's a turnover right there. One-on-one. Tightly contested. Driving. Has to pass out. It's like he's always stopped sometimes when he gets really deep in the paint. So with his shot creation struggles comes finishing at the basket. Hawkins shot a mediocre 52% at the rim. He struggles to find the proper touch and angles that are needed to finish the cup. Hawkins also tends to shy away from contact and get out of control. Not a great finisher with the opposite hand either. So those are some concerns. We're going to see that right here. Hawkins driving to the basket, goes right off the crossover, misses. Hawkins throws down the jam, as you see there. Hawkins misses the easy layup. Tough contest. Sometimes he does shy away from contact, which is a bit of a concern. Hawkins goes right. Think he'd have the easy lay. Gets blocked. Hawkins goes left. Easy lay, missed again. Not going to his left hand. Hawkins, wild layup forced off the glass. Hawkins, another forced layup off the glass with his left. But another staple of his creation issues is the lack of playmaking in his game, as he did record a very low assist percentage, lower than J.J. Redick and Kyle Korver. He can easily find the open roll man in a pick-and-roll scenario. I question what he will do when he's faced with a blitz or double team, but I doubt that he'll consistently have the ball in his hands as the main ball handler. So we're going to see some flashes of his playmaking, some flashes of not so good. Inside for the finish. Hawkins, nice pass to the big man at the top. Nice feed. Here's the alley-oop that was blocked. Good job on the defensive side, as we'll see here in a sec. Hawkins double-teamed, cannot find the roll man as he's blocked. Playmaking, bit of a concern for him as another pass is deflected. This one, too. Loose handle as well, which will cause problems in the end. But he does make some nice passes here in this part. Now we'll get to his bad stuff on defense. Although solid defensively, he does tend to get jumpy, which can put him in foul trouble. He contains a light frame at 186 and will have to put on some pounds in the NBA. He did struggle against some NBA-sized wings in college. Will he be able to cover threes? Let's watch against bigger guys. Driving left, gets the shot and the foul. He does tend to get a bit jumpy as well. Henderson beat right off the dribble. Bad placement there. Inside. Bad defense there. One-on-one, similar size. Just beat right off the dribble. Trying to be physical, but outmastered. Again, this is where the weight comes in, constantly posted up against, but there's going to draw the foul and the contact. Little handsy and a little bit jumpy, too. That's something he'll have to fix to the next level. But that's overall Jordan Hawkins. I love his shooting ability and definitely should translate to the next level. I also like that he's a solid defender and is capable of understanding rotations. Major swing factor for his ceiling is the ability to create for himself and others. I do see some resemblance to a Norman Powell type, but with a quicker shot release. Donald, what were your thoughts on Jordan Hawkins here?
I think he'd be ideal for like the modern offense in terms of, I'm looking at teams like the Celtics. I'm looking at teams like the Warriors. I even think that he would benefit from the Heat as well with their coaching staff and their proclivity to shoot open threes. I think he'd be a real fit for them too. Look for him to go to an organization where they can really make use of his all-around talents, especially his perimeter shooting. I mean, how good would he look beside Steph Curry for the Warriors with his off-ball movement and his quick release? I think he could learn a lot from Steph Curry. I don't think he's going to be the main primary ball handler, so I wouldn't be worried about that. I think he would need to go to a team where they would get him open rather than making him like a primary focal point. That's why I think a team like the Celtics and the Heat and the Warriors would be ideal for him. Very exciting prospect. Really very, very exciting prospect.
Yeah, Jordan Hawkins here is mocked to be drafted at 13 by the Raptors, so he's probably in that early teens range. You're going to have to probably trade up for him, which I would definitely do. Rob, what were your thoughts? I know I said he's kind of a fit for you guys as a shooter, but what were your thoughts?
I really like his shot. It reminded me a little bit the way he kind of brings it up, almost like a Ray Allen, the way he would bring it up from kind of like his midsection, but it's quick, and that's going to translate very well to today's NBA. If you said you think he'd fit in Brooklyn, yes, because we need scoring, and any way we can get it, we need shooters. I doubt we'd have him, though. I think I could see him with Golden State would be deadly. Him and Steph Curry shooting, and also Clay. I don't know how many teams would be able to outshoot them. Boston can definitely benefit because who knows how their offseason is going to go. And Miami can always use some scoring. So I think Donald's got a really good point there. Those three teams could be really, really good fits for him. But his role in the NBA should be pretty clear. He's going to score. He's going to play some defense. You don't have to really worry about attacking the basket too much. If you can just pop some threes and hit them, you'll be fine in today's league.
Yeah, definitely. So
let's touch on the fact that the Celtics are down 103-82 with a minute and a half remaining. That is remarkable, man. It really is. Like, Boston aren't playing like a team. They haven't played like a team this entire game. Like, they're not really competing. I didn't see them compete at all in this game. The Heat were just better. They actually played like a team. Better coached.
They might not have the most talented players, but just Donald said they do play like a team. But I don't like the Celtics coach, to be honest. I'm not a fan of Missoula. After what he said, I think it was after game game 3, where he said, I might have lost the locker room. I don't like the offensive system they run. Like, I thought Ime Udoka's offense, obviously with Houston now, was a little more sophisticated, but it's just putting up threes in this offense, and that's obviously not sustainable. Like, if they play backyard basketball shooting threes, that's what they're doing at the end of the day. I'm not impressed.
Even without him actually saying, I might have lost the locker room, I'm watching that game and I'm thinking, they're not competing. They're not even competing at all. Simple closeouts they're not doing. They're not really moving the ball. They're just chucking threes. They're playing as individuals. It kind of looks like he lost the team. I don't even think it's the fact that they're toast, because they worked so hard to come back. You would think that they would play their asses off in Game 7, but they just don't look into it. They're not really involved. They weren't involved from the jump.
Jaylen Brown's 1 for 9 from 3. White's 2 for 9. Like, they're just chucking them up, and they're not hitting them. That's disgusting. That's terrible.
It is disgusting. And then you look at the Heat, always moving the ball, always making that extra pass, always looking for the extra man, hustling on defense, fighting for rebounds, as they're just doing right here.
I mean, how do they, like, in a long-term view, obviously the Heat are going to win this. How do the Celtics get over the hump, basically? Because I'm not sure if they do in, like, the next few years.
Do they even re-sign? Like, can they re-sign Jaylen Brown? Because he's going to get a big deal.
He's eligible for a max or a super max, but do you really pay him that, to be fair, after this game where he had a bunch of turnovers and couldn't make anything from 3? Him and Tatum didn't show up. Neither of them.
Yeah. I don't know if they actually do, because the East is seemingly getting better and better. But the Heat are always going to be good. I mean, the Knicks took a major step forward this year. You can never count out Milwaukee because of Giannis, and I don't know. Boston's going to have to. They're going to have to shoot better, but they're also going to have to do more than just shoot threes. Clearly, it's not working.
I think Monty Williams with the Celtics would definitely be an interesting fit, because I don't see Missoula being here around that long. Especially that it's essentially the same team, plus they added Malcolm Brogdon, and the offensive philosophy is just garbage.
Yeah, he's not a good coach. I'm not impressed in the slightest.
I think they're also lucky they got out of that Sixers series. If Doc Rivers didn't Doc Rivers, so they were fortunate to be here. So they really should have lost how many rounds ago?
So Boston at home put up 84 points. That's embarrassing. At home in a Game 7, 84, 103-84. That is just disgraceful. But it's beautiful to watch all those sick Boston fans in the crowd. They all look absolutely sick.
There's going to be a lot of drunken Irishmen today. Not very happy drunken Irishmen. A lot of bar fights.
I don't care for the Heat at all, but I'm very happy that a Boston team didn't once again come back from 3-0.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to say that would have been another reference they would have pulled had they won. And credits to John. John said that Miami was going to win.
I thought the Celtics were going to win, but they gave up. They gave up.
They did. They completely gave up. And the right coach won.
Yeah,
Spoelstra did an incredible job.
I guess they were kind of right to book that flight early, the Heat. And I thought they were going to lose, but hey, I am wrong. So we will be calling Heat Nuggets. What a series. Starting Thursday.
Now, on paper, Nuggets Celtics would have been probably more exciting. But with the way that the Celtics play basketball, which is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
They flop a lot and then chuck a lot of threes and don't move the ball and just play as individuals. Maybe it's going to be better to have the Heat actually play as a team and play team basketball. And so do the Nuggets. So you got the best coach in the world against currently possibly the best player in the world. It's going to be fun. It should be an interesting series. I think the Nuggets have it though. They've got a little bit more about them, but I've been counting the Heat out the entire year, and they continue to prove me wrong. So
Yep. So I know Donald answered this earlier. Rob, Dwight Howard went on and said he had a better prime than Jokic. Who would you take, Rob, Dwight or Nikola Jokic?
I mean, if we're going by what Jokic has been able to do, just like the last few years, you probably take Jokic, right? I mean, but then again, Dwight did get to a finals. He didn't win it, but oh man, I really did like Dwight Howard. I thought it was a shame that he never was able to just take that next step forward and become one of the most dominant players ever. But might have to lean towards Jokic because he's got those MVPs and he might have a ring after this year. I don't know if Miami can beat Denver, but that'll be a good series. It's a slight lean toward Jokic, but we can't deny how good Howard was when he was in his prime.
I would lean Jokic because first of all, it's an interesting battle because how would Jokic stop Dwight in the paint? How would Howard stop Jokic in the paint? There's no one way you're beating Jokic. There's no one way you can beat him. He is a great passer. He is a shooter from the outside. He can ride you to the basket, and he's a great rebounder. There's so many ways you have to beat him. It's like almost impossible. You can't – there's not one facet you can just focus on and say, you know what? This is how I'm going to stop you. Maybe that's the way with Dwight, but I think Jokic is slightly better. I think both of them are all Hall of Famers at the end of the day, but Jokic would be my lean. I also want to
Jokic is the skilled guy. Jokic has got the skill. Dwight Howard doesn't really have a game like 3 feet outside the rim. And Jokic can beat you in a million different ways with IQ, with threes, with finishing inside, with assists. The only thing he doesn't do is he doesn't protect the rim. And that's one thing that Howard has over him. But I think everything else, I think Jokic is the better player considerably. I'm giving it to Jokic.
He'll just outsmart you. Blue City says, question, who has the most heartbreak in sports, Philadelphia, New York, or Boston? Most heartbreak
Philadelphia
in
in the past year. Boston number 2, in my opinion.
Philadelphia did lose a Super Bowl. They were up 3-2 in the semifinals and lost.
Their soccer team just lost or something along those lines. I don't pay attention, but something along those lines. And then Boston, I think it was the Celtics and the Bruins just lost to 2 8 seeds, something along those lines. So Boston would be number 2.
The state of Florida bandwagon is on fire right now because there's no such thing as like real Heat fans and where there is, but like there's not like a ton of Heat fans and a ton of Panthers fans. Like I trust me, I've been able to get to Florida Panthers games for like $5 tickets. That's how bad they were. And now they're winning games, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh, go Cats!" So I am happy to see them succeed, but Florida bandwagon, I'm hoping it kind of dies out soon. I'm getting real sick of these people showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think New York should be on that list. Like they haven't.
I don't think they've had a real heartbreak
in a while.
I mean, what? I don't think New York's on the list right now. It's Boston.
No, not really. You know, we got the Giants exceeding expectations, winning those championships against Tom Brady. Got the Yankees 27 championships. The Mets have never really broken too many hearts because they've never really been in it. The Knicks have exceeded expectations this year. The Nets were kind of fun with KD for a while. But there was never the hugest expectations prior to them. So I don't think the New York teams have really broken too many hearts, really. And maybe the Jets might surprise us with Aaron Rodgers. So we might have a good year. So, yeah, I don't think New York should be on the list. I think.
Boston had the best NHL season. Celtics
I think Boston. I think it's Boston.
Good.
I would go Philly first, and I hate both cities, but
I think with the Red Sox being last place and with and with the Celtics getting blown out in Game 7 at home. Yeah.
Isn't Toronto in last place, actually?
Oh, that's right.
Toronto is.
Yeah.
Despite all the shit they talked.
It's
They're
close.
still talking about it. They're still complaining about Judge looking over.
Bums.
It's unbelievable. They've gone 2 weeks of just complaining about absolutely nothing. Biggest crybabies in sports.
Can't they see that this actually had a detrimental effect on their team? Because ever since they started complaining about Aaron Judge, they've lost basically every single night.
Let them keep
Maybe
it
look
going.
at themselves.
For a while. Calling it that they're frauds for a while.
Jimmy Butler gets MVP, rightly deserved. I just want to pick up on Crackle Nut saying give Butler his props. Man, I don't know if there's too many better players in playoff history than Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? After Kobe Bryant, like Jimmy Butler is in the conversation. He's crazy good. All-time good.
I wanted Butler a few years ago when they signed the year that we signed Kyrie and KD. I actually wanted Jimmy Butler because I had wanted nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. But I was like, if it gets us Kevin Durant, I'll deal with it. But I wanted nothing to do with Kyrie. I really wanted Butler, and I wanted to bring back D'Angelo Russell. I know that he's been terrible this year in the playoffs, but I loved what he did for us. And I was like, can we get Jimmy Butler and get D'Lo in there? I thought the Nets could have had something pretty special there. Obviously, he went to Miami, and he's been damn good for them.
Rightfully so. Luka?
I was also going to add there have been 2 hirings that have been made over this weekend regarding 2 potential playoff contenders. What do you guys think about the Sixers hiring Nick Nurse?
Major step above Doc. This Doc is so overrated.
As they now we're just making memes. They went from a doc to a nurse, but a lot of people have been making them. It's true though. It's true. It is so true. But people have been also wondering and making memes. How will Joe? Because Nurse is actually one of those coaches who plays his players a lot of minutes, and how will that hold up with Joel Embiid? Is the question. Let me see how many. I'm going to look up how many minutes each Toronto starter averaged. Because I need some reference with this. But do you guys still think that James Harden will leave, or do you think he comes back to play with Nurse?
I think he's going to the Rockets. I think the strip clubs are calling.
That's so funny to me that he might go back to Houston. And there's actually like a real possibility of it happening. Oh man, he forced his way out, caused so much mayhem in the league, and now he's going to go back. I don't know if he goes back to Philly. I don't think he does. I think Embiid might want out too, actually, because didn't he criticize Nurse not too long ago?
Yeah, he did actually. I saw that on Twitter.
Yes.
Didn't actually know that. That's interesting.
But I think Nurse is a very good X's and O's coach. But if you guys were if I obviously previously discussed the Embiid stuff, but Siakam had led the league in minutes for the past 2 years, 37.4 minutes a game. Now, how much will Joel Embiid, hold up with Nick Nurse remains to be seen. But I think he's going to have those guys ready to play, in my opinion. So that's a good hire for them. Also, the Milwaukee Bucks hired Adrian Griffin. What do you guys think? Is it a missed opportunity to hire like a guy like Monty Williams or even a Nick Nurse?
It's probably. I don't know why they fired their coach really in the first place. I thought they should have kept him around. The coaching in the NBA is so strange because it feels like teams they have their guy like immediately once they fire their coach. Like I don't know. I don't know what Milwaukee was thinking because they have arguably the best player in the league. I don't know why they just keep that coach that helped them win a championship. That to me, that's like one of the strangest things. I thought if anyone was going to keep their coach, it'd be Milwaukee. Because Giannis was playing hurt that series against Miami.
I think you'd have to talk to Brian with that. But Brian obviously has a very different opinion on Budenholzer because he was.
You agree with Brian, so
no, I do. Like what he did in the final game of Game 5, I think. What he did was disastrous because what was it? After the Miami Heat play where there was the inbounds play to Jimmy Butler, he didn't call timeout to call a play or draw up a play. The same thing happened in overtime when Milwaukee desperately needed a timeout. So it's the timeout management. I don't know much about the rotation management. I'd obviously have to see. But another thing that Brian was talking to me about, he's like, we traded for Jay Crowder, but he was barely used. I know Donald has the side argument, which says, he barely played this season start. He was sitting out the first half of the season. So why would you play him the second half? But the thing is, Milwaukee did trade for him. So why trade for somebody you're not going to play? That was Brian's point at the end of the day. So
I believe that Budenholzer is a much better coach than the one they just hired.
Adrian Griffin is a well-thought-of assistant, but I think they need a veteran coach at the end of the day because Brian said, he was there to grow I forgot what he said specifically. He was talking about, the young guys and whatnot. I'm like, what do you mean we young guys? You're trying to win a championship with arguably the best player in the league?
And didn't Giannis get blindsided and he was unhappy about the decision to fire him?
Yeah, he wasn't exactly happy that Budenholzer was fired, but he didn't want Nurse, and Nurse actually withdrew his name, so it was up to Griffin.
Yeah, I don't like the way the Bucks have handled this. We already know that the Budenholzer lost his brother, and obviously Giannis was hurt, and they were the best team other than the Nuggets in basketball up until that series. And listen, it's no disgrace to lose to the Heat, considering the Heat have beaten everybody. So, I mean, it's like, I don't really know what they were expecting. It's like, I think it's a mistake, and I think they're going to regret it, in my opinion.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But you know what I also find funny? Doc Rivers has been mentioned as a finalist head coach for the Suns.
How does he keep getting hired by these teams that are in contention? He is clinging to that Celtics team from way back.
True.
And he didn't win anything with after that. He got the one ring, and what's that meme of the Lamborghini in the trailer house garage? It's
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw it circulating a couple of weeks ago. That's him hanging on to that 07, 08 run. I don't know how he keeps getting these high profile jobs, because the Suns are now a high profile job. They got Kevin freaking Durant and Devin Booker, and they're going to be expected to win. I think that'd be a terrible decision to hire him. Terrible.
I mean, the guy's blown several 3-1 leads. I actually watched a video on this, and I'm not going to say I was dumbfounded. I wasn't surprised at all, but the guy has, what is this, 6-10 record in Game 7s all time, which is considered one of the worst among NBA coaches, whether active or non-active. And first of all, another thing, when, coaches obviously make adjustments from what they've seen, halftime adjustments, Doc Rivers doesn't adjust himself. He asks the player to adjust instead of the coaches. So that's one thing. And another thing is, during these Game 7s, the mistakes, the mental errors that his teams make is ridiculous. I'm dumbfounded by him. So I don't know why he's getting still hired. I think he was carried on the back of Paul Pierce, Rondo, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Tom Thibodeau with his defense, because they were awful before the super team and Tom Thibodeau defensively. So I don't know why he's still being considered.
He's super overrated. He doesn't have an offensive system. None.
No.
He doesn't have an offense. And yeah, I just don't know what he does for teams like that. And do you think that Devin Booker is going to thrive with him? No. Do you think KD is going to thrive with him? KD doesn't want that kind of coach. He doesn't want that kind of coach at all. I don't think he wants to be coached. So
no, he's gone through 6 in the last few years. So
yeah. Look, that's a weird one, man. Again, I wouldn't have fired Monty Williams either.
I wouldn't have fired Monty either. I get it. It's a bad look when you lose by nearly 30 points in the last 2 semi-conference finals in Game 7s. But you want to look at Kevin Durant's and Devin Booker's numbers in those series, in the Game 7. Somebody brought this up on Twitter, and they really had a good point. Is coaches in the NBA are always the goats that are, I don't know what they said. They're always the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because players force them out. Players, like James Harden has forced out several coaches.
It's true.
I mean, I think he forced out McHale, which was all the way back in Houston.
LeBron James. Oh my God.
They're always sent to the slaughterhouse, these coaches. Obviously, it's a players' league, but Harden got Doc Rivers fired. Not that Doc Rivers shouldn't have been fired. LeBron James nearly had Spoelstra fired, and Spoelstra's doing great things now. He's a great X and O coach. He had David Blatt fired. He had Mike Brown fired. Like, it's so crazy how much power these players really have. Even with Giannis had the influence to hire or try to get hired Adrian Griffin, and that has worked out. So
it was only last season we were talking about Monty Williams as being coach of the year candidate,
yes.
One of the coaches in the league, and yeah, they underachieved this year. I get it, but there were injuries.
Yes,
and also, it's kind of hard to change your team on a dime right after an All-Star break, because that's when they made the KD trade and lost their starting wing, and they kind of had to change their system a little bit. And in my opinion, looking at the playoffs, they really missed Bridges. They really missed that guy that can
Cam Johnson too.
Those open threes. And yeah, so like looked like they were playing a man short through that series. Like they just looked like they were light on the bench and light on the wings. And that could only be fixed in the offseason. So I don't really know what Monty was expected to do. Like, yeah, okay, do a little bit better. But, I think they just needed to give him a chance to have an offseason with KD and work with them. And I think they'd be a much better team. I think he gets the short end of the stick again. Again, what are they really – again, as you say, man, it's like these coaches, it's like a coaching carousel. One guy moves to that team, other guy moves to the other team. It's just kind of going like a little carousel. Like, why? Like, it's just like, what are you really gaining from firing Monty Williams?
And why did I'm going to be fair here. Why did the Suns match the Pacers offer for DeAndre Ayton? They could have traded for Miles Turner because Ayton doesn't show up in the playoffs, and Ayton and Monty Williams are always at odds. So why would you re-sign Ayton when your coach clearly doesn't like him?
Yeah, that's a weird one. I agree. That came out of nowhere too because he was expected to be going.
Exactly. They could have traded for Miles Turner then there and that at that point. But just in case you don't know, DeAndre Ayton next year, $32.4 million. Next year, after that, $34 million. The year after that, $35 million. Is that what you want to be paying to DeAndre Ayton?
And they're still paying Durant. They'll be paying Booker. Still, Chris Paul's. When's Chris Paul's deal up?
I think next year. But I was just watching a video on that because this one content creator, Andy Hoops, he's like, you know what? These teams need to win next year or else. Like, they're locked into Durant's and Booker's contracts long term. Everybody else is peanuts because was it Torrey Craig, a free agent after next year? Like, they have all these free agents. They don't have like those role players, and they're going to be paying salary cap. Well, I'm sorry, not salary cap. Excuse me. They're going to be playing the luxury tax because of those guys. Paul, Ayton, Durant, and Booker. They're going to be paying the luxury tax around a core four that hasn't been successful. Plus, you don't have role players. You're barely going to have any space to sign role players. So it's even Andy Hoops, a good YouTuber. He's like, did the Suns peak too early, and did they trade for Kevin Durant too early? You could make an argument that they did peak too early because everybody in that young core, Bridges, Johnson, Booker, they're all in their 20s, and Ayton too. And then they traded for Kevin Durant, and they obviously got Chris Paul, who's aged up. He's washed. So they clearly ran before they could jump or ran before they could walk. So that's a major conundrum for the Suns. And it's not – I think it was rumored that the owner, Ishbia, who wanted to trade for Durant. It wasn't even the GM.
Really? Okay.
That's what's being rumored. So the Suns are in a bit of a conundrum. So that's going to be an interesting scenario to watch.
But that's what plagued the super team Heat in its first year is they just had the big three, and even though they got to the finals because the East wasn't very good, but who did they have in the finals that year besides LeBron, Bosh, and Wade? It was Eddie House. They weren't winning with Eddie House and Mario Chalmers and those guys. It wasn't until they got a couple of role players that they won championships, and it was the role player, and it was the third of the big three that helped them win. If Chris Bosh, it's not always about the superstar. Obviously, they help you get there, but you need to surround them with good enough players. Because without Birdman and Ray Allen and Battier and those guys, the Heat don't win championships with the big three. So you need to surround them. So yeah, you're going to win a lot of games with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the same team and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton healthy. But as we just saw, if one of those players goes down, who's stepping up? And the Suns don't have that right now. And that's why they ran off the floor.
Great point.
I have a hard time believing the Suns are going to win in the future. I really do. And that's a team I liked. I thought they were going to win against Milwaukee a few years ago, but that was their best chance. And Chris Paul is likely going to be moved this offseason. He's probably going to end his career ringless. So that is that with the Suns. But I don't think there's any other NBA news regarding that. Obviously, we'll be calling the game Thursday, which is going to be a lot of fun. Heat and Nuggets. So, Alex?
Yeah, I think we'll save predictions for next week. Angry John will be back. We have yet to do the Jets predictions, and we'll do a couple other teams. And plus, we got a couple of weeks to do it. Obviously, football season really doesn't start till July, August. I'm going to throw it to Rob for final thoughts first. It's been a while since he's been on here. Glad to have him on again.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's always a good time on here. Good news and bad news with our Yankees. We're up 8-2. Judge is hitting. Calhoun's got a few big hits. Bowers. However, Harrison Bader did leave the game with an injury. So right on cue as we were talking him up, he got hurt. I'm hoping it's nothing. He was able to walk without a limp, so I'm hoping it's not like a major injury, maybe just precaution. So hopefully it's good news. But yeah, it's good talking some baseball, talking some basketball. It's always fun. You guys are doing a hell of a job on here. Once again, I know I'm 2 months late with the congratulations, but congratulations again. You deserve it. And on to 2000.
Hey, Luca.
Thanks for Rob coming on. He's always great to have on. Obviously, the Yankees are up. By the way, Judge has peaked his OPS over 1,000 once again, so nearly 300 on the season. But great NBA talk. Can't wait to call the finals. Great Yankee talk as well. And rest in peace to Jeffrey Turner.
Yeah. Donald?
So I just want to start off with my brother Rob coming on. Good to see you, my guy. Be sure to, everyone who's been watching, be sure to subscribe to Pinstripe Chronicles and Nerding Out Sports. Me and Rob will have to get out and Nerding Out Sports episode out in the coming week. But I don't really want to talk about sports. I just want to wish the family of Jeffy my deepest condolences and my prayers. And Jeffy's a really good guy. Heartbreaking. It just shows how life is short. So I guess all I want to say is, everyone live life to the fullest. Do whatever makes you happy because you don't know when it's your last day. So God bless Jeffrey Turner. Good lad, good guy. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I'm going to close it out here. Tomorrow I'll be on Game Season with Pete. Wednesday, could be doing a Mets game. Me and Luca will talk, see if Angry John is going to get more rage. Thursday, obviously, it's the NBA Finals. Sunday, it looks to be our first stream on playback, but of course, we'll talk and discuss, and we'll let you guys know. And once again, it's kind of Donald remarked, I worked with Jeffrey for a lot of months with the Big Blue Crew. Very nice guy, always supported us. And when I read that text in the chat that just said, he's no longer with us, I could not believe it because he is that loyal of a guy and that he supported us and all that sort of stuff. And he worked his ass off making content, I must say. He covered everything from WWE, Giants, Mets, Nets. He literally had the book of it. So rest in peace, brother, but we'll catch you guys soon. See you later. Peace.